Imagine reincarnating into a fantasy world with full knowledge of the future and still ending up broke, orphaned, and crying in a government building because your awakened ability is sniper, not healer, not mage. Sniper, the most expensive class in existence. That's our girl. And honestly, it only gets worse before it gets hilarious. Because her plan to fix all of this? Simple. Get close to the most dangerous schemer in the academy, a guy who sees people as chess pieces and isn't subtle about it, and use him before he uses her. Two can play that game, except when you're stuck cleaning a classroom at night as punishment, just the two of you, and your so-called nemesis suddenly gets very close. Close enough to reach out and touch your face. You start wondering if he's just messing with you, or if this is going somewhere else entirely. Welcome to F-Rank Commander of the Academy, a story about a girl who reincarnated into a cheesy male fantasy novel she only half-read, running a scheme inside someone else's scheme, in a world that's slowly falling apart around her. Let's see how far that gets her. Alright, let's talk about Kang Na-yoon. See, our protagonist is a reincarnator, but not the cool kind who wakes up as a noble's pampered daughter with a hidden bloodline and a destiny waiting to unfold. No, she reincarnated into a modern fantasy world based on a novel, and not even a good one. The plot of said novel: a guy transmigrates into the body of a throwaway villain from a game, realizes he knows every secret the world has to offer, and proceeds to collect harem members like their limited edition trading cards. Your standard male fantasy power trip wrapped in academy drama. The kind of story she would never have touched with a 10-foot pole. Except she did read it, every single page. Why? Because a friend from her past life basically guilt-tripped her into it. And now that knowledge is just living in her head, rent-free. Here's the cruel joke though. All that information, completely useless for the first 16 years of her new life. She was born an orphan with no special abilities, and because of that, she spent all those years busy fighting just to survive. Brown hair, green eyes that look like nature itself decided to move in permanently, and a life that was finally starting to look like it had some direction. At least until 2 months ago. Kang Na-yoon walks into the National Awakening Center. She hands over her ID at the front desk, gets directed to the second floor, and follows the standard procedure every potential awakener goes through. Personal information, registration forms, the whole routine. The staff member explains that after the awakening process is complete, she'll need to come back for further instructions. Na-yoon nods. No questions. Now, a little context about this world, because it matters. This place is in rough shape. Gates have been tearing open across the globe for years now. Dimensional rifts that pour monsters into the streets and chaos into everything else. And when the world starts falling apart that badly, things like morality and ethics become the strong take, the weak disappear. Na-yoon knows this better than most. She grew up in an orphanage, the kind of place that collects the people nobody wants. And as if that wasn't bad enough, the director was selling children for money on the side. The caretakers used the kids as emotional punching bags. It was, without exaggeration, hell with a roof. The only reason things changed at all was because of their teacher. When she comes back with the results and announces that yes, Kang Na-yoon is a confirmed awakener, the reaction back at the orphanage is everything. The little kids go absolutely feral with excitement, half of them not even sure what it means. Since the teacher became the principal, they finally found a safe refuge. But even so, things were not easy. But some of the older children knew that the orphanage's finances were getting worse and worse, and the director was desperately fighting to keep the place alive. That's why her hope was to become an awakener with a good ability, so the woman wouldn't have to carry that whole burden alone. Na-yoon looks at all of them and makes a promise. She's going to bring home serious money. She'll work hard, invest in every company she knows will succeed, use every advantage her future knowledge gives her. It's a solid plan, but unfortunately her awakened class is sniper. That completely ruined her plans because it's a position that requires insane amounts of money and connections, something only people with wealth can afford, not her. An orphan from a home that is already failing financially. She stares at the screen. Strength F, Agility E, Endurance D, Mana E, stats so painfully average they feel personal. And her class, the one that requires expensive specialized equipment, industry connections, and serious upfront capital just to be remotely functional. She's a broke orphan with no sponsors, no network, and no budget. This is genuinely catastrophic. The tears come fast. She pulls herself together faster. There are still forms to submit. The teacher informs her that academy admission documents will arrive at her residence within the week, and attendance is mandatory for all awakeners. The one small mercy: tuition is fully covered by the government. She walks out holding on to that. Reincarnating didn't come with protagonist privileges. Her life is still precarious, her stats are still a disaster, and her plan just hit a wall. But somewhere underneath all of that, she can't shake the feeling that there's a reason she ended up here. Something waiting for her in this world. Whatever it is, she needs money first. A lot of it. At least what brings her some peace is knowing that her home will be protected and that she still has the teacher who raised her despite all the difficulties, as well as the support of her younger siblings. For now, that's enough to keep moving. In front of the Guardian Academy, it's admission season. Everyone's buzzing. Students, reporters, spectators, all waiting waiting to see which new young heroes are going to step up and protect the world. The rankings are being announced, and there's one name that keeps coming up. Someone from the prestigious Na family. Na Yoon knows exactly who that is. And here's the thing about being a reincarnator. Even in a life like hers, there's one advantage that nobody can take away. She knows this story. She knows who's supposed to enroll this year. She knows what's coming. Back home, she runs through what she remembers. The rules of a modern fantasy novel are pretty consistent. Rule 1. When an event happens, the protagonist steps in, solves it, and walks away with a reward, like clockwork. And protagonists generally come in two flavors. The first is the stoic. Head down, does the work, protects people because that's just who he is. The second is the schemer. Charming, calculating, always 3 steps ahead, and completely shameless about using every advantage available. The novel she's inside of, F-rank commander of the academy, stars the second type. The male protagonist took over the body of a villain extra, who was literally written to get beaten up in the first act and never appear again. But the soul inside him was a hardcore fan of the original game. He knew every secret, every hidden route, every character's weakness, and on top of that, he woke up with an ability called Insight Eye, lets him read anyone's full stats at a glance. With that combination, he's been quietly collecting hidden treasures, cultivating allies, and building influence in a world he already had the answer key to. Now, Nayeon should have read this novel all the way through. She didn't. She retained the harem drama just fine. The important plot details, significantly blurrier. But here's rule 2, and this one she remembers clearly. The schemer invests in his allies, heavily. No expense spared. He started as the weakest person in the academy, which means right now there's a very good chance he's sitting in the lowest ranked class, Class F. Same as her. She may not have money, she may not have connections, but she has the plot. Finally, it's time to enjoy the content of the novel. So here's her conclusion after thinking it all through. Every single one of the schemer's companions ends up walking a path lined with flowers. Success, growth, rewards, the works. So Nayeon doesn't need to be the main character. She doesn't need to be special. She just needs to be on the bus, get a modest spot as one of his extra companions, ride the wave, and collect the benefits on the way up. Simple, clean, foolproof. Now she just has to actually pull it off. Finally, the admission day at Guardian Academy arrives. The buses gather all the new students and haul them to the ceremony venue. Everyone gets a device loaded with the essentials, assigned class, dorm room, campus map, and the school's basic rules. They're told not to lose it under any circumstances since it's personal to each student. Nayoon is barely listening. She's too busy being completely enchanted by the fact that there's a bus system just to get around campus. And when she actually looks around, walking trails, shops, an entire restaurant district, she already knew all of this from the novel, obviously. But knowing something and seeing it in person are two very different things. The rules don't have anything surprising in them. Except wait, curfew? She doesn't remember there being a curfew in the story. She was pretty sure characters were just wandering around at midnight like it was nothing. She files that away as a detail to investigate later. They arrive at the auditorium for the ceremony. Students are directed to find their assigned class sections and sit behind the designated placards in the front rows. Simple enough, the letters represent both current rank and class, and whoever's sitting next to you is who you're starting this journey with. After admission, students are assigned a provisional rank between D and F based on their specs. Na-yoon ends up in the lowest one, shocking absolutely no one, least of all herself. The welcome speech kicks off. Everyone's asked to stand, and Na-yoon's classmates are already whispering gossip to each other. Meanwhile, Na-yoon is basically the only person in the entire auditorium who looks genuinely excited, because she knows what's coming, and she fully intends to be standing at the top before any of these people see it coming. A woman takes the microphone and asks everyone to settle down. Tall, striking, the kind of presence that fills a room without trying. She welcomes the new students warmly, says she's excited to watch the little chicks grow, and tells them her office is always open if they have questions. Of course, with all that beauty, she wouldn't go unnoticed, drawing everyone's attention. Except for Na-yoon, she knows who this is. One of the heroine candidates. The older, elegant type, and the entire room is immediately eating out of her hand. Which honestly, fair, she gets it. But still, the director needs to ask everyone to quiet down twice before the speech can continue. Moving on, the highlight of the ceremony, the freshman pledge. The student chosen to walk up on stage and deliver it is Park Si-woo, the actual protagonist of the original story. Stoic, composed, the type who does everything with quiet conviction and zero flair. Na-yoon is impressed by his beauty, but at that moment she remembers that this is probably when the trickster should be making his cringy declaration, "I will live on, O world." She whips around. Standing right next to her, in a pose that makes absolutely no sense for the occasion, is the transmigrator, Na Yu-han, the schemer himself. She didn't even notice when he sat down beside her, and she genuinely cannot explain whatever he's doing with his body right now. But she suddenly understands something. All those looks she'd been receiving since arriving? Not for her. They were for him. And it makes sense. Na Yuhan's reputation in the awakened world is genuinely terrible. Before the transmigrator took over his body, the original had caused incidents that should have been impossible. The kind of history that makes people cross the street. In the awakened community, his name alone is enough to make a room go cold. Na Yuhan, however, looks at him and sees an opportunity. Okay, small flashback. Because she didn't walk in here unprepared. Before admission day, she sat in her room at the orphanage, actually strategizing how to approach someone like him. She's never had to be charming toward difficult people. Her younger siblings are all soft and sweet, which is adorable and completely unhelpful as reference material. So she ran through every option she had. Only one approach seemed viable. She was mid-thought when someone knocked on her door. It was Hoon, one of her younger brothers, bounding in with that golden retriever energy of his, wanting to know what she was doing. She told him honestly, planning for the orphanage's future. His face fell. He told her to stop sacrificing herself for them, that now she's an awakener. She could live comfortably on her own, that they don't need to be her problem anymore. Nayun grabbed his face with both hands and shut that down immediately. They're family. Family means you don't abandon people. Family means you don't forget. Every single person in that orphanage is hers and she is theirs. How could she possibly not care? They hugged it out. Hoon, very much a puppy in human form, let it go. And Nayun went back to her plan. The character type she needed to play didn't really exist among the heroines in this story, but it was the only card she had. Warm, bright, disarmingly earnest. The kind of person who seems completely harmless. Operation Sunshine. Beginning now, back in the auditorium. The schemer clearly notices something's off about the girl next to him. Nayun turns, switches on the persona like flipping a light, and introduces herself with maximum sunshine energy. He looks at her flatly and asks if she knows him. She asks if he's some kind of celebrity, which internally is hilarious because yes, he is essentially infamous in awakened society. But that infamy only matters to people in awakened society. Nayun is a government-supported awakener from a completely ordinary background. She has no reason to know who Nayun Han is, and that's exactly what makes her interesting to him. He introduces himself a little carefully. In this world, awakened individuals have two origins. The first are those born into bloodlines where the trait is genetic, families of high status who inherit prestige and thus form the core of awakened society. The second are those discovered through government-supported civilian screening, people like the protagonist who come from ordinary backgrounds. She keeps going, tells him she's a government-sponsored awakener, nobody knows who she is, and then leans into the confused puppy angle, saying she's worried about keeping up with academy classes, thus making her seem like the easiest person to use, exactly as planned. She asks if he knows a lot of people. He says yes, since he is from an awakener family, knows the community well. Acting completely interested, she puts all her acting talent on full display. He relaxes, just slightly, just enough. And with the energy of someone enjoying a little bit of attention, he says, maybe. But the protagonist isn't a fool. After all, she read that he knows the game perfectly well since he was a nerd obsessed with it. Noticing that he doesn't actually seem very interested, she decides to take another route. So she drops the pretense of subtlety and just asks, teach me. I need help. I don't know what I'm doing. It's humiliating. She knows it's humiliating, but if that's what it takes to stay in his orbit and access even a fraction of what he knows, she'll smile through every second of it, looking like pure sunshine, just waiting for him to fall for the act. First attempt, gloriously failed. The exact moment Nayun asked Yuhan to teach her, the ceremony ended. The entire auditorium stood up at once and he just vanished, swallowed by the crowd before she could get another word in. She lost her shot without finishing a single sentence. At least she made some friends in the process. Small victories, but here's the thing, she's not panicking because she knows how this works. Yuhan can't exactly blend in right now. His stats are terrible, his reputation is a disaster, and reaching out to anyone in the established awakened community with the Na Yuhan name attached is basically a non-starter. So Nayun figures he'll do the logical thing and aim for Class F first. Less prejudice, more room to maneuver. And she has something he's going to want. The first hidden piece he'll go looking for, she has the ability to get it. One good moment to show him that, and getting into his group becomes a lot easier. But first, she tries a different angle. She spots him exactly where she expected. Off to the side, very deliberately not mingling, running through his next moves in his head. The guy who couldn't blend into the crowd even if he tried. She calls his name with her full sunshine personality switched on. He cannot hide how surprised he is that someone just called out to him. Warmly, in public, with a smile. He stands there for a second, not computing. Nahyun keeps going, waving him over, making it feel completely natural. She's thinking, this is also helping you, you know? You need a reputation reset. You're welcome. The surrounding students notice. There's a ripple of confusion. Why is someone so cheerfully dragging Nahyun into a friendly group conversation? But Yoon recovers fast. Smile on, charm activated. He walks over and introduces himself like he wasn't just standing alone in the corner plotting. Nahyun plays her part, mentions he's from an awakener family, lets him take the floor. He runs with it immediately, tells everyone that if they have questions about abilities or the academy, they can always ask him. The classmates eat it up. Someone even asks him about the fastest way to level up. Na-hyun watches this happen and notes with some personal irritation that when she asked him something similar not 20 minutes ago, she got a flat stare. But now that it suits his agenda, suddenly he's very helpful, very approachable, very charming. Class starts. The professor gets straight to it. What they'll be learning is how to eliminate monsters. One of the girls raises her hand and says she actually wants to go into research. The professor tells her it doesn't matter. Every awakener needs to know how to handle creatures regardless of their end goal. Na-hyun looks around the Class F section and thinks, honestly, this isn't bad. The energy's decent, the people seem real. Then the professor asks a question that makes everyone go quiet. Why are we against the monsters? He lets it sit, because they have intelligence, he points out. They're capable of thought. Theoretically, couldn't they be friends? The class starts murmuring. Nobody has a clean answer, because the honest answer is, they've just always been told to fight them. That's it. The professor eventually gives his own, because they act with the goal of wiping out humanity. That's the answer he found. And he hopes everyone finds their own. Class ends. Na-hyun walks through the corridors, turning it over in her head. She already knows what drives Yuhan. He wants to complete the original game. That's his end game. It's practically written into his DNA at this point. As for the professor's question, she has her own answer, just not one she's sharing out loud. She opens the door to her dorm room and stops. For Class F, this is actually really nice. And looking at it, she immediately thinks of her siblings, the younger ones who always wanted a room of their own, who never had one. She wants to pay off every debt, get everyone into a house big enough that nobody has to share a corner. That's it. That's her answer to the professor's question. If she can make money, even if it means taking down monsters or something worse, she'll do it without hesitation. For them, that's what she's here for. She sits down to start planning her next move, now that Yuhan at least knows she exists. However, her stats are pathetic compared to his, and the only decent thing about them is her endurance. And then a notification blinks into her status window. A progress bar climbs to 100%, and then a burst of light, several messages cascading one after another, and finally one that stops her cold. You have been successfully integrated into the story of F-rank, commander of the academy. She stares at the screen. What? More information floods in. Kang Na-hyun will appear in the novel. She is simultaneously a character within the story and a reader of it, and her reactions have been updated accordingly. She finds a new feature in her status, the meta system, a reincarnation bonus. She can earn points, specifically when readers respond positively to her character. The more engagement, the more points. It's interactive, it's gamified, it's genuinely kind of insane. She lies back on her bed trying to process this. It wasn't there when she woke up this morning, so something triggered it, an event she didn't notice, and the most obvious candidate is meeting Yuhan. That must have been the condition for the system to activate, which means there are actual readers out there experiencing this story. And those readers are now reacting to her, scoring her like she's a character in a web novel, which technically she is. Now officially, she sits up and clicks on the shop. A window opens loaded with items, potions, magical weapons, equipment, all priced according to how well the story is flowing and how difficult each item is to obtain normally. She scrolls through with growing excitement until she hits the section that makes her jaw drop. Stats. They're selling stat upgrades. She thinks about every transmigrator story she's ever come across, every cheat system, every hidden advantage, and she realizes this is hers. She's a schemer too. She just has a different kind of cheat. The problem is she doesn't have enough points yet, not for the good stuff. She scrapes together what she has and buys a basic mana rifle. It appears in her hand. She stares at it. It's real. An actual physical weapon that just materialized from a point shop. It's also pretty low level and not particularly useful right now, but still, real. She checks what's left, 10 points, and decides she wants to hold on to them. Nothing in the affordable range is worth it yet. She stores the rifle away for now. Na-hyun will check the part where her character appears in the story this season, which is something that will be updated regularly. The novel's perspective opens on Yuhan, confused, freshly transmigrated, still adjusting, introduced as the troublemaker who spent years coasting on his family name until he burned that bridge completely and cut ties with them. She reads through to the ceremony, to the moment he's standing there listening to Siwoo's pledge, making his own silent one. Fist clenched, jaw set, I will use everything I know to survive this world. But first, the reputation problem. He needs to fix it, and then he looks at the girl standing next to him. The narration describes her as irritating, but it's not really irritation, she can tell. It's surprise. He's not used to people approaching him without hostility, and this girl just walked up and started talking to him like he was a perfectly normal person. She introduces herself. He realizes immediately she doesn't know anything about Na-yuhan. Not the family, not the history, not the infamy. And then she mentions being a government-supported awakener, someone with no ties to the existing awakened community, no preconceptions, nobody who's warned her off. The narration says he smiles, because a thought just occurred to him. This is perfect, I can use her however I want. Class F received him differently than the higher-ranked students. Less hostility, more curiosity. A lot of them are government-supported awakeners with no prior exposure to awakened society drama, which means no preconceptions about the Na family name. Fixing his reputation here is going to be easier than expected. While fielding questions from classmates, he quietly ran his insight eye across the room. Earlier, when he scanned the higher-ranked classes, nobody stood out except Siwoo, obviously. And Class F is exactly what he expected. Extras. Background characters. Nobody that moves the needle, except the girl. Sniper class means she'll likely get firearm bonuses as she develops. Useful for clearing dungeons. Her stats are low, but her skills, clairvoyance, perfect precision, mana bullet are genuinely solid, and she seems to have already developed some kind of attachment to him, which means he won't even have to work that hard. He decides to keep watching her for now and recruit her later. Everything is going according to plan. Reputation recovery nearly complete. Next step, make contact with Siwoo. He should head to the training hall right after this. Park Hyun Siwoo typically reserves room 7 if he remembers correctly. Then Na Yoon asks him if he has any younger siblings. While thinking about his plans, the conversation eventually shifted to family. Yuhan's smile goes slightly bitter. He says yes, one. They don't get along. In the game, that sibling is the older brother of one of the main heroines. The terrible relationship between them always leaves a bad taste. Even now, Na Yoon finishes reading the chapter and she is annoyed. Not a single mention of her contribution to his reputation recovery. Not one. The way he wrote it, it reads like he just naturally charmed the room, conveniently leaving out the part where she literally called him over and handed him the opening. She was being strategic. The sunshine persona was deliberate, and he filed it under she seems attached, useful, will recruit later. Incredibly irritating, but also exactly what she needed. She's on his radar as useful. That's the goal. She checks the point of view feature, the section that lets her see Yuhan's thoughts, plans, and small details in real time. That's going to be extremely valuable going forward. But first, she checks the reader comments. They are not great, which means these small points were received thanks to the 5th chapter in which she was introduced. And here's the problem with this world's base leveling system. The attribute points you gain from leveling up are completely random. You might get 1, you might get 10, you might go a long stretch of 1s and then suddenly receive 100 out of nowhere. In her personal opinion, garbage game design. But it gets worse. Even the distribution of those random attribute points is random. Double gotcha. Which means she's a sniper who could theoretically end up with most of her points dumped into strength. Completely useless. No wonder the transmigrator was obsessed with a game this manipulative. Some people just have that kind of personality. The advantage of meta points is that they let her choose which attribute to increase. No randomness. Full control, which makes them the single most important resource available to an awakener. Fine. If the readers want catharsis and infinite harem content, she'll give them something to react to. She'll play this smart. Looking at the comments again, she notices something clear. Readers respond to heroines, not background allies. A decent support character isn't going to cut it. Her original plan was simple. Get close to Yuhan, secure connections and funding, become independent, low profile, modest goal. That target just shifted. New objective, become the heroine, which means getting close not just to Yuhan but to the main characters of the original story too. Because the events ahead are leading toward world-ending territory. And being friends with the heroes when that happens is just common sense. Or so she thought. Because right now there is a fireball forming in front of her face, and a very angry blonde girl, completely consumed by fury, is saying, "You never change." How did it get to this point? Let's rewind 1 hour. Yuhan starts her morning, checks her device, and thinks there should be an event today. The first day of classes, the training hall. Yuhan mentioned heading there early, and if she remembers right, Siwoo, or as she's started calling him in her head, Dum Dum tends to reserve room 7, which means Yuhan is probably aiming for 6 or 8, worth checking out. She heads over to the training facility with no solid plan, which she realizes is a problem the moment she arrives, and it's perfectly quiet. She has no idea when Yuhan is actually showing up. She considers just reserving a room and waiting. Then she hears voices. She follows them and finds the schemer himself, being interrogated by a furious blonde girl demanding to know what he's doing there. Yuhan, completely unbothered, points out that he's a student, and students are allowed in the training hall. Yuhan watches from the side and immediately recognizes the blonde. New Yuri. Main heroine Yuri is not buying the innocent student act for a single second, telling him he's obviously here to bother her again and that even a dog wouldn't believe his excuses. Yuhan keeps smiling, mentions he reserved a room. From her corner, Nuhyu thinks, why is he standing outside his reserved room then? And then it clicks. He's not here to use the room. He's here to run into Siwoo, and he's provoking Yuri on purpose, so that when things escalate, Siwoo shows up to intervene. Classic setup. Even from a distance, it's hard not to be irritated by how calculated this is. Yuri's patience runs out fast. She tells him flat out that someone like him doesn't deserve to be here. That's Nayoon's cue. She steps forward and puts herself directly between Yuhan and the blonde girl. Everyone goes quiet, including Yuhan, who genuinely did not see that coming. Nayoon does not love doing this, but she committed to the plan. So she turns to Yuri with her full sunshine energy and asks, Isn't that a little harsh? This whole conversation about who deserves to be somewhere? Both of them just stare at her for a moment. Then Yuri collects herself and asks, with the very measured tone of someone trying not to combust, "Are you defending this trash because you don't actually know him?" And here we learn something that we didn't see coming. The angry blonde girl squaring up Nayuri is Nayuhan's twin sister. Nayun doesn't actually know much about this girl yet, so she keeps it simple. She's just a classmate of Yuhan's. That's all she'll claim. She steps up to defend him anyway, saying she doesn't know what happened between the two of them, but he's definitely not trash. And that part she can say with at least a little conviction, because whatever his motives are, he does invest in his allies. Genuinely. No expense spared. She's also quick to add that every student has the right to use the training hall freely. Yuhan is absolutely loving this. He chimes in cheerfully that yes, he's just here to train. His twin is not impressed. She thinks it's almost insulting that this girl actually fell for it, but since Na Yuhan seems set on siding with him, there's not much she can do about that right now. Na Yuhan pushes a little further, asking if it's really fair to assume everything he says is a lie. Yui just smiles, and it's not a warm smile, and asks, "You really don't know anything about this man, do you?" Full sunshine mode activated. Eyes bright, voice soft. Na Yuhan says she does know him actually. That's sure, he was a little cold at first, but once you actually talk to him, he's kind. He doesn't look down on people. He goes out of his way to share what he knows. Na Yuhan looks genuinely lost, like she's trying to figure out who on earth Na Yuhan is describing. Na Yuhan clarifies, "Na Yuhan, that guy right there, that for his part is having the time of his life." Yui gives up trying to argue. She just says flatly that it's pathetic watching this girl be used as a toy without even realizing it. Yuhan pushes back, asking if she can't at least consider the possibility that he's changed. She doesn't buy it. Instead, she grabs Na Yuhan's hands firmly and turns to her brother, tells him it's not enough that he treats this place like his personal playground. Now he's using someone with a pure heart again, and that's when the atmosphere shifts. Na Yuhan feels it before she sees it, something crackling in the air around Yuri. Sparks, actual sparks, flickering in her eyes, starting to jump from her hands. Yuri's voice drops. She says their mother forgave every sin he committed, expelled him from the family, and gave him a clean slate, a new chance. The sparks are no longer just in her eyes. Na Yuhan stares at the fire building in Yuri's hands and thinks, did she get this intense in the original story? Because I do not remember this. Back to the present moment. Yuri is completely consumed by rage, and Na Yuhan is absolutely terrified. She did not think it would go this far. Yuri stops paying attention to her entirely and goes straight for her brother. Na Yuhan desperately calls out for her to stop. She knows one hit from Yuri would finish Yuhan completely. She moves to get in the way, but someone else gets there first. A hand catches Yuri's, stopping her mid-motion. It's Park Siwoo, exactly as the original story said he would be. He calmly reminds her, Academy Regulations, Article 1, Clause 9. Offensive abilities are prohibited outside of registered dungeon exploration, approved training room use, or official classes. No exceptions. He asks if she forgot. Then quietly, he tells her he didn't awaken to hurt people. Yuri, irritated, maybe a little embarrassed, pulls her hand away and says she knows the rules perfectly well. Then she walks out, leaving the three of them standing there. Na-yoon exhales. She genuinely thought she wasn't going to survive that event. Yuhan immediately turns to Siwoo and thanks him for the rescue with full dramatic sincerity. Siwoo shuts that down fast. He only intervened because letting it happen would have earned him a violation for standing by and watching. Nothing more. Na-yoon knows that's not true. He could have just reported it to the Student Affairs office. The fact that he physically stepped in says a lot more about his character than he wants to admit. Yuhin calls him his savior anyway. Na-yoon immediately backs him up, piling on the compliments, telling Siwoo he's basically a walking conscience, the moral standard of his entire generation. Siwoo tells them both to stop. They do not stop. More compliments. Siwoo, increasingly red, asks them to please stop. They keep going until he finally has no choice but to physically walk away from the conversation. At this point, Na-yoon is just genuinely enjoying herself. And somehow, after everything that just happened, the three of them end up walking casually across campus together like none of that occurred. The tension completely dissolved. Na-yoon asks Siwoo if he was also heading to the training hall. He says he was in one of the rooms when he sensed mana flowing nearby and came to check. Yuhan immediately picks up on that. Mana detection? A lot of hunters struggle with that. He asks if that's also what Siwoo used to put out Yuri's flames. Siwoo says no, that's just a basic technique, something anyone can do once they're familiar enough with mana. Then he adds that it's actually quite difficult to master. Yuhan and Na-yoon share a look. This guy has no idea how exceptional he is. Genius is genuinely more dangerous when it's unconscious. Siwoo says goodbye and heads off. Na-yoon waves with full sunshine energy and watches him go, then thinks practically good. That secured her enough screen time for this chapter. She doesn't need to worry about that part anymore. But there's still one more thing to handle. Yuhan asks what she was doing at the training hall. And here it is. Heroine appeal. Points to earn. She puts on her best confused puppy expression and asks if she really seemed like the type of student who'd take it easy on the very first day. Yuhan goes red, just immediately, visibly flustered. He can't get a response out. She watches this happen and thinks, I just need him to react. That's all, come on. He manages to stammer that most students do rest on the first day, actually. She points out that he came too. Then she softens her voice and tells him she hadn't actually been planning to train today either. But seeing him helping their classmates earlier made her want to push herself. She started thinking about what she could do, and training was the answer. She watches his expression shift as he works through the implication that he was the variable, that his actions created a ripple that changed what she did. For someone trying to map how the story around him is changing, that lands. She holds his gaze and tells him she doesn't know what happened between him and that girl, but she believes in him. Yuhan smiles, slow and satisfied, and then he invites her to train hard together starting tomorrow. She has her in. He has a new student. Everyone got what they wanted. Mostly, fourth day of academy life, the professor runs through the semester structure. Until midterms, they'll be building foundational knowledge and experience. After that comes the practical monster exam, where students receive new class assignments from A to F. He clarifies that low-rank assignments are temporary. Then he tells them he expects impressive growth from everyone by then. The class responds, including Neon. Quick recap of the past few days. After the training hall incident, Neon managed to get contact info from both Yuhan and Siwoo. And thanks to Yuhan's suggestion, the three of them have been doing personalized training together for the past 3 days. Siwoo is genuinely incredible, by the way. Just putting that out there. Yuhan turns to Neon and compliments her on the rapid-fire test from earlier. She smiles and tells him she's been practicing since the day before like she said she would, so she's actually doing better than she expected. Good. She needs him satisfied. There's a dungeon coming soon, and she's going to need him in a good mood for it. The two of them are about to run a practice duel together. Everything has honestly been going better than planned. She got close to Yuhan faster than expected, and with Siwoo, she thought she'd be lucky to leave a decent impression and nothing more. But here they are, training together daily. There's just one thing bothering her. Ever since the training hall event, she keeps feeling eyes on her. And when she looks, it's Nayuri, slowly getting closer each time, not so subtly hiding behind other students. The staring is supposed to be directed at her brother, not at Nayuri. This is an unexpected variable. The professor calls everyone's attention. Today's class includes a simple test alongside a weapon aptitude evaluation. Everyone gets to choose a weapon from the academy arsenal, which they can retrieve and use through their inventory. Over in Class E, some students are already grumbling. This is basic stuff they've been doing since childhood, so they'll just use their own gear. But in Nayun's class, the conversation is very different. A lot of her classmates are visibly struggling. Some of them have never even touched a weapon matching their ability class before. The gap is impossible to ignore. Students from Awakener families have had access to training and equipment their entire lives. Government-supported Awakeners were identified and rushed through the process right before enrollment. Most of them are starting from zero. Nayun would be in that same panicked group if not for the meta system. At least the test uses standard academy weapons, which levels the playing field a little. She's reaching for her rifle when her golden goose appears at her side. Yuhan leans over and advises her. Since her class gets firearm bonuses, she should go for a weapon with a shorter barrel. Nayun clocks immediately that this isn't a random tip. There's a plan behind it. She files that away to investigate later and picks up the recommended weapon, then asks if he's already decided on his own equipment. In his side of the story, the novel notes that Nayun accepted his suggestion. He smiles at her question and confirms he has. For his class, there's only one starting equipment option. When he pulls it out, Nayun stares. It's a red flag. Literally, a flag. The weapon aptitude test is the first practical evaluation at the academy. Future hunters identifying their ideal equipment through combat against virtual monsters in a simulation. Simple premise, just show you can use what you chose efficiently. There are 3 roles being assessed in this class. First up, dealers, who need to deal damage to an enemy target within a set time. Siwoo handles this like he's done it 1,000 times before. He wipes out every single slime in the simulation and doesn't even blink afterward, like it was nothing. Yuhan is screaming compliments from across the room, though internally he's not actually surprised. Siwoo's specs are monstrous, and his ability 1,000 armaments lets him handle any weapon like an extension of his own body. What Yuhan's really waiting for is the moment Siwoo pulls out that worn-down sword he carries on his back. Nayuri walks past Siwoo and shoots her twin a look that could strip paint off a wall. The dealers are told to stay. Everyone else heads to the second floor to wait. Yuhan passes by Yuhan on her way out, says goodbye with a smile, and heads upstairs. He watches her go, thinking about the investment. A sniper who completes full training can become a flying DPS, one of the rarest and most effective classes in the field. The success rate for that career path in this world is extremely low, and it requires enormous resources. Normally, it's only attempted by veterans with experience and capital behind them. He's already decided he's going to develop Kang Nayu. He's pulled out of his thoughts by Nayuri, who asks him flatly if he feels any guilt about that girl at all. He plays dumb. He's relaxed about it because he doesn't think his sister will actually cause destruction here. But what she said to him that day is harder to shake. She screamed in his face that she remembered everything he did when they were children. She doesn't believe he's changed. She's convinced he'll play with people like toys again, just like before. She'd even asked him directly if he was planning to throw Nayurin away. The problem is the transmigrator took over this body. He has no idea what the original Nayurin actually did. That's a problem he needs to figure out how to handle. Meanwhile, Nayuri is destroying the virtual monsters in her training simulation with everything she has, and she's doing it while staring directly at her brother, which makes Yurin think she might be imagining his face on every single one. He laughs nervously. He's starting to think she might actually finish him before any monster gets the chance. Dealer tests wrap up. Now it's time for tankers and supporters, and Yuhan is in the supporter category. The instructor explains that this test is different. The target monster doesn't attack. It just stands there. The job is to weaken or strengthen the target depending on role assignment. Yuhan raises his hand before the instructor finishes talking. The instructor looks at him, cautious, asks why. What follows is a calculated speech, but what he presents is genuine knowledge. The commander class, he explains, is a support position, not just buffs and debuffs on a stationary target. It's strategy. It's reading the battlefield in real time, directing other hunters, pulling the best performance out of every person on the team. In this world where dealers get all the glory, commanders have almost no reputation because they're not on the front line. But the front line doesn't function without them. This is basic knowledge in gaming. Nobody in this room has that frame of reference, except him. So he has to show it. He holds up his equipment, the red flag. He explains it's optimized for transmitting commands to teammates, which makes a stationary target a completely useless evaluation method for him. He proposes a different format. He commands a partner in an actual duel against another student. The instructor thinks it over, then agrees. The rest of the class looks at Yuhan like they would very much enjoy being selected as his opponent. The instructor offers to pick a tanker volunteer. Immediately, everyone's hand goes up, not out of enthusiasm, but out of the desire to personally end him. Yuhan asks to choose his own opponent instead. He doesn't take long. He picks the big guy with blue hair. The guy grins and asks if Yuhan's feeling confident. Yuhan says the bigger the target, the easier it is to hit. The instructor then asks if Yuhan has a teammate in mind, otherwise he'll assign someone from the opponent's class. With his reputation, nobody would expect him to have a partner at all. If that were the case, he'd have just picked Siwoo. But what happens next shocks the entire room. He calls up his classmate, Kang Nayun. Everyone stares. The two of them stand in front of their opponent, and the general consensus seems to be that the schemer has completely lost his mind. Nayun quietly asks him if they're really going to be okay competing against someone from Class D. He tells her to relax. Internally, he finds it a little funny. She's worried without knowing anything about what he's actually planned. He'd patted her head earlier like she was a puppy, and she'd made that face. Now she's standing next to him about to walk into a fight she doesn't fully understand yet. Kim Chol-soo, blue hair, Class D, level 10, attributes ranging from D to F, but his resistance and magic are both maxed at level 10, and he has Berserk at level 1. Not Siwoo level terrifying, but for a freshman, his agility and overall stats are genuinely excellent. He looks at Yuhan and feels challenged just by the eye contact, so he goes straight in. One clean hit from those fists on Yuhan's weak body would end the duel instantly. Yuhan sidesteps. Chol-soo hits the floor. He gets up furious, clearly decides it was a fluke. Goes in again. Yuhan is still smiling that insufferable smile. Here's the thing, their agility stats are actually the same, but Chol-soo is wearing heavy defensive equipment, which makes him just slightly slower than usual. And that small difference? More than enough. Yuhan asks, "Who said I'd let you hit me?" He keeps dodging every single strike. Chol-soo is visibly exhausted and Yuhan hasn't broken a sweat. The big guy stares at him, something shifting in his expression. Yuhan keeps smiling. Chol-soo snaps, gets back up, fully committed to ending this. Charges forward. Yuhan asks calmly if he's forgotten something. Too late, he signals with the flag, and Noyoon lands the hit, with more precision than he honestly expected from someone who's never held a weapon like this before. He glances over at her for a moment, genuinely surprised, then immediately refocuses. Duel's not over yet. He provokes Chol-soo further. He knows exactly what buttons to press. It works. Chol-soo activates Berserk, red aura flooding around him, power spiking dangerously. Yuhan acknowledges internally that if either of them were handling this alone, they couldn't scratch him. Not a chance. So here comes the real move. He stacks his enhancement ability directly onto Noyoon's firearm bonus. Then he calls Chol-soo an idiot. Chol-soo charges with everything he has. The whole room is watching, including Noyoon, which is exactly what he wants. Because with his command, boosting a Class F partner, the right Class F partner, it's enough to surpass a Class D. That's the whole point. That's what he's been demonstrating this entire time. The match ends before Chol-soo lands a single hit. The instructor calls it. He's seen enough. Noyoon is smiling. She figured out the full plan from the moment he suggested which weapon to pick, all the way to this. She'd been a piece of it without knowing. And while that's irritating, she also has to admit it worked. She just wishes he'd told her. She also notices this isn't something she remembers from the original story. Shiwoo was supposed to be his partner, so why did he trust her with this instead? She turns it over in her head for a second, then catches herself. Not the moment to drop character. She throws herself at him, all sunshine, telling him how amazing it is that they beat a Class D student together thanks to his strategy. Meta points incoming. She can feel it. What she does not expect is how red he turns. Immediately. Completely. The more she holds on, the worse it gets. She can actually feel his heartbeat going haywire, and she thinks this guy patted my head like I was a golden retriever not 20 minutes ago, and now he looks like he's about to pass out. The instructor loudly clears his throat. He tells them the other students need to use the space too. Yuhan gets even redder, realizing everyone is staring, and it gets worse when their classmates start treating them like they're a couple. Back in her room that night, Nayuin cringes at how far she took that, but it earned her 250 points, so she's choosing to feel fine about it. The reader comments during the test duel weren't bad either. She checks those, then pulls up the point of view section. She's been avoiding one part of it specifically, the walk back. She really does not want to watch that, but she's already here, so she might as well. She clicks it. Chapter 7 opens on the ceremony day from Yuhan's perspective. He'd run through this scene countless times in his head. Step into the story, get Saiwoo's attention, build from there. Clean plan, simple execution. Then something flashed past his vision like a streak of brown. Kang Nayuan, a character who doesn't exist anywhere in the original game, standing next to him, apparently for no reason, and then defending him. From Nayui of all things. He didn't know what to do with that feeling. Hadn't experienced it before. Maybe it was just the shock of receiving something other than hostility for once. The mission still succeeded. He got Saiwoo's attention. Results were as expected, but the original story had already changed. A variable appeared that shouldn't exist. He needed to understand why. So he asked her. She was definitely not supposed to be at the training hall on the first day. He waited for an explanation, and then she made that face. Head tilted, eyes wide, and asked if she really seemed like the kind of student who'd skip training on day 1. That flustered him completely. He fires back that he came to train too. Simple as that, which technically resolves the variable for him. There's no way Nayan could know about meta-knowledge. That training equals skill development. So if that's her reason, it's just another external factor he didn't account for. Then she thanks him, says that seeing him help their classmates earlier made her want to push herself too. That he's the reason she changed her mind about training on day 1. Right when his thoughts were getting complicated, she said that he turns it over, concludes that Nayutihan himself must be the variable, that something he did differently rippled out and affected her. He hadn't predicted that at all. Maybe she's just more genuine than he expected. She was looking at him with this expression full of trust and warmth, talking about believing in him. He found it a little strange, that kind of trust given that easily, and somehow he ended up trusting her back. Nayuti closes the chapter. All that suffering was worth it. The majority of reader comments in this update are focused on her. Finally, though she notes with some irritation that certain parts got conveniently edited, that guy really only wants to make himself look good. Never mind that she's the entire reason 2 brooding teenage boys managed to have a normal conversation for 5 minutes. But, points, that's what matters. She could put them toward attributes or skills, but there's something else bothering her. That insight eye ability of his is starting to get in the way of how she handles things. The problem is, if her stats suddenly spike, it'll raise suspicion. She needs to wait for a natural level up and increase everything at once so it doesn't look suspicious. Fortunately, the first dungeon is almost here. That afternoon, some students are gathered talking about precision upgrades. One of them, a platinum-haired guy, is showing off a new weapon he bought after yesterday's class. Yuhan listens and agrees. Dedicated weapons are completely different from standard issue. The Academy's default equipment is fine for safe on-campus use, but these students are being trained for actual battlefields. Specialized weapons with bonuses and effects aren't optional. They're essential. That's just how things work in this world. Then he looks over at Nayuan, still carrying her standard rifle. He assumes it's because she can't afford anything else. That assumption is what organizes his next move. He gets up and walks over to her, mentions he's going to buy a weapon, and then casually invites her to come along. His plan, use this moment to put her in his debt and formalize a contract. In his mind, he's picturing her happily tagging along, completely unaware of what he's setting up. He even feels a small flicker of something, almost like pity. But in this game, 2 can play. He's convinced he's leading an obedient, innocent girl into his scheme. Meanwhile, everything is going exactly according to Nayun's plan. She's perfectly satisfied with her standard weapon for now, but she knows there's no room in his plans for a partner using basic academy gear. So she follows. The shop door opens. Her eyes go wide. So many weapons. She doesn't let the prices show on her face, even though they are genuinely absurd. Even the standard options cost more than she'd like to think about. Time to try something. She pulls out her best sad puppy expression. She has a lot of real worries right now, but she's going to stay positive. And like the sunshine heroine she's performing as, she declares with full conviction that she is going to work incredibly hard to earn money, then smiles and says she's feeling really motivated actually. Yuhan smiles back, then pats her head and tells her that's adorable. She hates that. She hates it every single time. But then he adds, maybe you'll get there sooner than you think. She smiles back a little awkwardly and says she'll work hard for it. She redirects, asks what he's planning to buy. He says he wants to look around first. Secretly, Na-yoon is delighted. Shopping with someone else's money is infinitely better than shopping with her own. Yuhan picks up one weapon and examines it. It has a rapid-fire type skill attached. Multiple shots from a single barrel. He puts it back. For a sniper, precision is everything. A rapid-fire weapon actually works against that. He explains this to her. You have to check the associated skills carefully before buying anything. Good advice. She files it away, she keeps looking and finds another option. This one has a magical enhancement feature. Yuhan leans in to check it, wants to know if the enhancement applies specifically to bullets. He seems interested enough to potentially buy it for her. Now Yuhan puts on her performance. Says she can't let him spend money on her like this. Asks what could possibly make him trust her enough to do that. He smiles confidently and says it's free. She panics for exactly 1 second and offers literally anything in exchange, up to and including her own organs. It's a ridiculous thing to say. She knows it's ridiculous, but at least she's getting what she came for. Yuhan tells her he just wants a favor. He needs her ability for something. He'll explain the details later if she agrees, but he promises she won't be in danger. Here it is. The moment that requires actual heroine energy. She asks with the most innocent expression she can manage, is it something that won't hurt anyone? He comes back with his own question. Is it something that helps people? She holds eye contact, keeps him there, then smiles and says, in that case, she can help. Contract established. She is now officially part of Na Yuhan's grand plan. She reads through the contract and immediately notices the penalty clauses for breaking it. He's absolutely trying to exploit someone he thinks is uninformed. She signs it anyway. Yuhan looks like he just caught the biggest fish of his life. He gets straight to business, tells her they're going to a dungeon that exists inside the academy grounds. She asks about it. He says it's scheduled to appear today. She asks how he knows that. He says it's a special ability. And the plan, he explains, is to clear it without reporting it. He tries to reassure her that it's not dangerous. She tells him dungeons are never safe. She's not actually surprised he said that. She expected exactly this level of casual confidence. And she already knows this is the first hidden piece dungeon, and he's planning to run it with every trick he has. She tells him she'll keep her head on straight and quietly thinks all of this for the money. Between the contract, the shop visit, and the reader comments rolling in, Na-yoon is feeling like an idol right now, practically swimming in it. In class, Yuhan notices and asks why she's so happy. He can't see it, but she's mentally counting money. She thinks if every day could be like this, that would be perfect. Everything is going beautifully. Then the door flies open. Na-yoon walks in and asks for Kang Na-yoon. Na-yoon responds while quietly dying inside. That blonde is terrifying and she knows it. Yuri says she wants to talk. Yuhan immediately wants to know what about. Yuri tells him flatly there's nothing between them to discuss. He fires back with something sarcastic. Yuri doesn't engage, just turns and heads back out. Na-yoon follows, mentally begging the universe for protection, genuinely afraid of becoming barbecue. Outside, she asks what Yuri wanted to talk about. Yuri starts carefully, says this might make her seem strange, but she needed to say something. Her expression is calm, not angry. Then she gets to it. She doesn't believe Yuhan has changed. She can't trust the kindness he's been showing lately, because he has a history of acting gentle while quietly destroying someone from the inside. He manipulates people however he wants and enjoys watching them suffer. Everyone who avoids him knows this because they've been through it themselves. Usually that kind of reputation gets someone looked at with disgust, but with Yuhan it goes deeper than that. It's closer to hatred. And as Na-yoon listens, she starts wondering if what she's hearing is from a part of the novel she never read. Yuri continues. Normally, her brother surrounds himself with people he's bought, keeps them close, uses them, enjoys himself. But there was one time he approached someone on his own, actually put in effort, just like he's doing now. That stops Na-yoon cold. That person slowly became dependent on him, started making every decision based on what he said, then cut off everyone else around them until only Yuhin remained in their world, because they were a fool. And in the end, that innocent person met a tragic end. That's how Na-yoon lost her friend. She's gripping her own hand so hard it bleeds. She apologizes, says she looked into Na Yuan's situation. Her circumstances are difficult enough that even a brother who was expelled from the family could easily take advantage of her. Na Yuan listens carefully, genuinely struck by this. Yuri's entire body is trembling. More than anyone, she wants her brother to have actually changed, because she can't watch another person end up destroyed because of him. From somewhere nearby, Yuhan hears all of this. He'd always found it strange that Yuri, someone who lives by the rules, had been pushing so hard to get him expelled. Now he understands, but he still doesn't know what to do about any of it. Na Yuan glances behind her. She knows he's there. She hopes he's listening and thinking hard. She also realizes her own existence is what reopened this wound for Yuri. The way she acted warmly toward Yuhan worried Yuri enough that she couldn't sleep and came looking for her this morning. Na Yuan almost wants to tell her the truth, that the Yuhan she knew doesn't exist in that body anymore. But she can't pull away from him. That's not an option. Yuri says it's hard to believe and she has no proof. Na Yuan asks about the investigation into her circumstances. Yuri explains, she's seen people who want something so desperately they wouldn't care if it killed them. She knows that look better than anyone. And right now, Na Yuan has it. That's why she believes her. Na Yuan looks at this girl, bold, gentle, who came running because she couldn't stand watching from the sidelines anymore, and knows she has to do something. She tells Yuri if Yuhan turns out to be faking it, that would be really sad. So she wants to believe he's not the same person who hurt people anymore. And she proposes if he ever does try to use or hurt Na Yuan, Yuri will step in and confront him. But if the change is real, they'll make him apologize properly. Either way, she'll be right there with her. Yuri's eyes fill. She asks if Na Yuan is really this trusting, making promises so easily, calling it a deal with such confidence. Calls her naive for believing in people so readily. Na Yuan smiles and says she's genuinely glad that someone as strong and sharp as Yuri is worried about her. She also thinks quietly maybe it's a good thing the transmigrator ended up in that body after all. In the end, Yuri accepts, promises she won't make the same mistake twice. The atmosphere shifts completely. The two of them exchange numbers and make plans to have lunch together. Meanwhile, Yuhan is still hidden nearby listening to all of it. And somewhere even further back, a fourth person is watching the whole thing unfold. The two girls head back inside. Na Yuan tells Yuri she can always reach out if there's anything to report about her brother. Yuri is practically glowing at the idea of being Na Yuan's personal protection detail, which makes Na Yuan think she might not have many friends. She doesn't comment on that, but she does notice a girl who's always angry looks surprisingly good when she smiles. They stop mid-path. Yuhan is standing right there. Na Yuan asks where he was. He says casually he was just in the bathroom, an obvious lie. Before Na Yuan can say anything, Yuri cuts in with the announcement. She's joining their after-class training sessions from now on. Yuhan gives her a slow, ironic smile and asks if she's going to train with him. Yuri makes it crystal clear. She's there for Na Yuan, not him. She pulls Na Yuan into a protective side hug and says she'll be training with her. She tells her brother not to try anything, then says goodbye to Na Yuan and heads off. Yuhan doesn't react. The two new best friends part ways. Na Yuan watches Yuri leave and thinks she seems way too happy about this. That's a little terrifying, actually. Alone now, Yuhan calls her name. Na Yuan wonders briefly, were those two ever close at some point? She turns with a smile and asks if he's going to question her now that Yuri's gone. She plans to play completely ignorant. As far as he knows, everything went fine, and he didn't even know he was being followed. Yuhan says nothing. He reaches for the door, and then quietly he thanks her. Na Yuan freezes. She actually can't process what she just heard. She stands there for a moment, genuinely unable to respond. She doesn't get the chance to anyway. The door swings open from the other side, the instructor radiating an aura that makes both of them take a step back, informing them that they are late. He grabs both of them and demands to know what exactly they've been doing out here. They end up staying late to clean the classroom as punishment. Not ideal. But the day itself? Incredibly productive, getting that early Na Yuhan reveal. The heroine appeal landing perfectly. Na Yuhan expected a good reader reaction. What she did not expect was for her meta points to double. She's sitting at 800 points now, and that's not even the strangest part. A new status window appeared. She gained a story fragment. The system updated again due to story conflicts, and now she can access it through the point of view section. She checks the main story first. It's Yuhan's perspective of what just happened. He'd been frozen completely still until Na Yuhan's words pulled him back. She didn't dismiss Yuri's appeal, and she treated him like he was genuinely a different person from whoever Na Yuhan used to be. Without even knowing there's someone else entirely living in that body, she just believed it, and something about that settled into his chest like a weight he didn't know what to do with. He'd listened to Yuri and agreed internally. Na Yuhan is naive and easy to use. That assessment hasn't changed, but then his narration shifts. I followed with my eyes the leaves carried by the wind, and the light shining through them. He thanks Na Yuhan for believing he's a new person now, and that's where his chapter ends. The schemer, finding something beautiful in a version of reality that doesn't actually exist. Then the story fragment loads. It's the fourth person, the one who is hiding. She sounds amused, says she overheard something private that reminded her of her past with someone named Hana. She's curious what conclusion these kids will reach. Thinks she might need to get closer and watch? Na-yoon now knows. There wasn't just one person eavesdropping on that conversation outside. A feline hybrid who manipulates wind. That has to be Choi Soo-jung. But from what she remembers, Soo-jung doesn't take interest in Yoo-han until after midterms. She's unpredictable enough that Na-yoon genuinely can't tell if this early appearance is good or bad. She sets that aside and checks the reader comments. The volume shocks her. She stares at it for a moment, a little unsettled. Too many readers are getting invested in her specifically. She hopes the attention spreads out more once the other heroines start appearing properly. Yoo-han calls her name, complaining that they've made everyone else handle the leftover cleaning. Na-yoon thinks privately. This is the world where he's the protagonist. She'd been watching him this whole time, thinking he was just cleaning normally. And then he suggested they take a break, and she realized he'd been planning to finish fast all along. Of course he was. She decides this is the right moment to bring up the Yuri situation. She calls his name, then launches into her script. Tells him she heard he did a lot of bad things before. But even so, she believes he's kind, and she asked Yuri to see that he's changed too. Yoo-han just asks if that's everything she wanted to say. She confirms. All he says is his sister is finally showing interest in him. The problem is it's the negative kind. Now Yoo-han doesn't love that response, but she watches him quietly and thinks at least he can tell she's not going to betray him. She wonders if he'll investigate further or just let this one slide. Then something shifts. He's suddenly very close. He reaches out and touches her head. Like always, she does not understand why he keeps doing that. He tells her with full effortless charm that she's really cute. Every instinct in her body says, punch him. She smiles and goes red instead. Points to collect. Patience required. That's all she's asking of herself right now. Just patience. Outside, Nayuri and Saiwoo are already waiting. Yuri greets Nayu enthusiastically, then immediately clocks the person next to her and asks if she'd like help getting rid of the trash stuck to her side. Yuen responds. Yuri tells the trash it can speak now. Saiwoo, seeing everyone has arrived, simply asks if they're going to the training hall. While the twins start bickering, Nayuen notices something on Yuri's shoulder. Yuri turns and visibly gets more annoyed. She doesn't explain what it is, but Nayuen already has a guess. Then a strong gust of wind sweeps through the group, and there she is, earlier than expected. A red-haired girl appears with a bright smile, greeting everyone like old friends. Choi Soo-jung. Yuri demands to know what she's doing here. Soo-jung says she was looking for someone to train with, and happened to spot familiar faces. Yuri doesn't buy it for a second. Soo-jung adds cheerfully that she trains very hard, an obvious lie, and offers to join them. Nayuen agrees with Yuri's skepticism completely, but she needs to stay in character, so she doesn't say that out loud. Shiwoo, as expected, says the more the better. Yoo-han chimes in to provoke his sister. Points out she joined the same way, so one more person isn't a problem. Now Yoo-han notes two things. Soo-jung showing up on her own means her intentions probably aren't simple, and Yoo-han is already angling for something by welcoming her. Yoo-han turns to Soo-jung and asks her name. She introduces herself and mentions she already knows him. She saw him during the aptitude test. Then she throws herself at him, saying it's a pleasure to finally meet him in person. The other girls watch this with varying levels of expression. Now Yoo-han observes immediately. Yoo-han genuinely does not know how to handle this at all. For exactly 1 second, she wonders if Soo-jung might actually be targeting her instead. Then she decides that's ridiculous and drops the thought. What actually surprises her is that it's Saiwoo who cuts it off, telling everyone to save the introductions for later because they need to go train. Good. He's useful sometimes. Soo-jung's attention swings directly to Nayun next, and she apologizes for something which Nayun doesn't understand at all. Then Soo-jung asks completely casually, "Are you and Yoo-han dating?" Silence. Nayun and Yoo-han both react at the same time, and Nayunyo activates a level of fury that should probably be registered as a natural disaster. After all of that, they finally go train. Saiwoo, restoring order as he tends to do, suggests a group simulation. The scenario, a protruding gate that appeared near the city outskirts. Yoo-han pushes back, suggests starting with a fixed type instead since it's the beginning. Saiwoo points out that fixed gates are rare, and with this many people, training for monster waves would be more meaningful. Yoo-han would agree, but brings up that not everyone in the group has seen a gate yet. It looks like he's concerned about the newcomer. He's not. He just wants what he wants. Quick breakdown of the two gate types in this world. The first is the protruding gate, monster waves that keep coming until everything is wiped out. The second is the fixed type. A dungeon exists inside, contained, clearable. That's what they're hitting tonight. Fixed gates appear randomly and rarely, and because they're configured to include dungeons from the original game, the rewards are completely different from protruding gates. Hidden pieces can drop there too, which is exactly why Yoo-han is planning to clear it. That said, most gates near the tower are Type 1. The real threat in this world is the monster waves. As the world destruction storyline advances, the variety of protruding gates only grows. Stopping that is what hunters are actually for, so he agrees with Siwoo. No need to train specifically for fixed types right now. Now Yoo-han is happy to go along with the group simulation. She knows Yoo-han will deal with the dungeon situation later, regardless. She votes in favor of the proposal, and even with his backing, she's aware she's the weakest link in this group. She's willing to do whatever it takes to hold her spot. All of this for a greater good, even if things aren't perfectly fine right now. While the simulation is being set up, Yuri takes it upon herself to explain the gate types to the group. Soo-jung immediately says she wants to come along for whatever comes next. Yuri, already irritated, tells her brother very clearly not to follow her. Meanwhile, Nae Yu-han is the only one in the room who notices something. Park Si-woo is looking at her strangely. It makes her uneasy, but she doesn't have time to think about it. The other girls are calling her over. She glances back at him once before leaving. For a moment, she thought he had something to say. The simulation loads, background set, difficulty configured. 3 phases. Phase 1 begins. Monsters generate immediately. Massive Jurassic creatures pour out, spreading chaos with a terrifying pack right behind them. First shot, headshot. Yuhan watches from his position. Satisfied. It's a simulation, but it runs close enough to a real field to matter. That hit landed clean on the monster's core. He only regrets it's not a fixed type gate. His role here is commander, aligning the team, reading the field. He's in his element. He calls out to Yuri, tells her to just break the armor plating and get out of the shockwave range. She already knows. She loads mana into her fist and hits the creature with everything she has. The armor shatters. The monster drops from the impact. Yuri leaps clear. Na-yoon fires immediately, straight into the exposed core. The enormous creature hits the ground and doesn't get back up. Yuri lands clean, looking every bit the heroine after that combination. Her brother smiles. That was brutal in the best way. He shifts his attention and orders Soo-jung to guide the flying monsters using the wind. Soo-jung's magic activates. The flying creatures get caught in a hurricane and thrown off course. She celebrates her successful mission. Yuhan focuses on Na-yoon next, stacking his enhancement ability on her. She fires. A clean, stable shot. Soo-jung gets blown sideways by the force of it. The two of them watch the result together. Yuhan smiles. More stable than he expected. He takes stock of the team. Soo-jung handling the attack area, Yuri delivering massive single-hit damage, and then Na-yoon, who could function as either main DPS or support, depending on what enhancement he stacks on her. Flexible, valuable. None of them coordinated this beforehand. No communication about who would do what, and they worked well together anyway. Then there's the other standout. Siwoo is quietly doing the work of 4 people by himself, without being asked, without announcing it. He's gotten noticeably better since getting a feel for the 1,000 armaments ability. More monsters close in, but the one who genuinely frightens on this field is the Stoic. This is beyond what Yuhan projected. Just this group alone would be enough to form a real team. Investing in Kang Na-yoon is going to be worth it. Something flashes past his feet. Soo-jung, already moving to the next target, shoots him a smug look over her shoulder. Says it's impressive, isn't it? Everyone following his commands like that? Winks and asks if they're going to clear this in record time. Yuhan tells her phase 1 isn't over yet. Don't relax. Normally, monster wave gates require multiple teams coordinating in formation. A single group shouldn't be able to manage this. Maybe they're doing well because the simulation difficulty was adjusted. He calls out that the phase is almost done and tells everyone to prepare for the next monster respawn. Then a monster breaks through, slipping past Soo-jung. Na-yoon tracks it, fires at the core. Nothing happens. She goes still. Yuhan picks it up immediately. Her mana is completely depleted. She'd been performing so far above what he expected that he genuinely forgot to account for her actual mana specs. That's on him. He throws up a shield. The problem is his own mana is running low too. Yuri can't help. She's dealing with her own situation. The shield needs to hold, but it's already cracking. The monster gets hit. So you moved? Clean takedown. Phase 1 complete. At the exact same moment, the shield finally breaks. Yuhan just smiles. That reaction time. Yuri comes running straight to Na-yoon, grabs her, checks her over, needs to confirm she's actually okay. Na-yoon reassures her. But there's no time to sit with it because Yuhan immediately calls the formation change. Phase 2. Na-yoon steps out. 3-dealer formation takes over. New orders. Seiyu draws maximum aggro from the front while Soo-jung and Yuri provide support from behind. Everyone gets into position. Na-yoon says she can still fight. Yuhan reminds her that her mana is gone, then tells her flatly, right now she's useless to the team. She should rest. He walks past her like it's nothing. He has mana potions, but wasting them on a simulation would be pointless. Phase 2 begins. He orders Yuri to pin down the charging vanguard's feet so Seiyu can finish them all in one go, then calls out a warning. Monster clustering on the left. Soo-jung almost gets caught in it. Yuhan watches them fighting, but there's a gap now. Without Na-yoon as support, covering everyone is harder. A monster slips through on Soo-jung's side. It heads straight for Yuhan. He notes internally, unfortunately, a clean clear isn't happening. Simulation ends. 36 minutes, phase 2, failed. Soo-jung celebrates anyway. Says they were so close to clearing phase 2. Yuri immediately blames her brother for getting destroyed and points out that Na-yoon basically got handed a death sentence too. Na-yoon starts apologizing. Yuri shuts that down fast. It wasn't her fault, and Suwoo steps in too, telling her they managed to hold on longer because of her, and that it's hard to believe she's just a beginner. Those words don't seem to sit well with Yuhan. Soo-jung appears next to him and asks, "Does that girl have any idea how talented she is?" Then adds that being naive makes her easy to exploit. Looks at Yuhan, asks if she's right. He just smiles. Of course he's going to exploit her. That's been the plan from the start. But he's also running the actual numbers in his head now. With Nayoon's specs, her mana should have run out before Phase 1 even ended. Her passive skill, Perfect Aim, increases shot precision, but mana consumption goes up depending on the level of correction applied. On top of that, she used mana bullets multiple times. The fact that she didn't collapse after a handful of shots is already unusual. But that's not actually what kept her going long enough to not be a liability. Her base precision is naturally high, which means Perfect Aim barely had to correct anything. Barely any mana used per shot. In other words, that's just talent. It makes him wonder why someone like this never appeared in the original story. He starts considering the possibility that she might be a discarded character, one that was written out before the story began. Either way, he's satisfied. He found a rare gem, and he's looking forward to tonight. He calls Soo-jung over, asks her if she'd be interested in trying a real gate. Nayoon is a little distance away, but she catches every word. She listens to him make the proposal to Soo-jung. The plan is still the same, drag her to the gate tonight, but the mana issue is a bigger problem than she expected. Regular bullets without mana can't even scratch a monster's core. If she doesn't manage her resources carefully tonight, it's going to be a real problem. Then Suwoo is suddenly beside her. He tells her not to feel overwhelmed by the results. They train specifically because they don't know what problems might come up in real combat. That's the whole point. He adds that if she'd used mana potions, she could have lasted longer. Says she did well. Yuri appears right after, already cheerful, telling her that mana improves fast once she levels up. Nayoon had been performing being discouraged. Now that they're actually consoling her, it's just awkward. These two are genuinely different from a certain someone who had zero issue telling her to her face that she was useless to the team. She won't pretend that didn't surprise her a little. But it won't be surprising for long, not after tonight. She stands up and declares that she's going to level up. Either way, the mana increase is happening. Just as planned, night falls. Nayoon moves carefully through the campus, can't get caught breaking curfew. Though honestly, the fact that there even is a curfew is still throwing her off. In the original story, protagonists were wandering around at midnight like it was nothing. The meeting point is a clearing at 11 p.m. Earlier, Yuhan had let her know he'd already made a contract with Soo-jeong. She'd be joining them tonight. He told Nayoon not to worry. She won't be a burden. Nayoon put on her insecure face and said she was the one worried about being the burden. He told her she's actually the key to clearing this gate. She was still nervous. He patted her head like she was a golden retriever and told her not to worry about it. She reads this chapter later and is furious, because in his narration he thinks she likes being patted on the head. She does not. One more thing she notices while reading. She can only access the sections of the story where she actually appears. She figured this out when she tried to spy on the conversation Yuhan had with Soo-jeong separately. All she can see is that he called Soo-jeong Sr. and drew her in using her own secret. She doesn't know what that secret is yet. For now, she'll keep pretending she doesn't know anything about it. She checks the comments, already mentally calculating how to break that schemer's arm for what he's put her through. One reader noticed Yuhan getting uncomfortable, looking at her like he was worried. She'd caught that too. She reads his POV and discovers that in his narration it reads like jealousy. She stares at that for a moment. At least it's keeping readers engaged with her. What actually surprises her is a comment about genuinely loving her interaction with Nekuri. As the story develops and more characters enter the frame, reader attention is starting to spread more naturally. The problem with that is point spread too. When more heroines appear, she's going to need new ways to hold reader interest on her own. She arrives at the clearing and finds the two schemers already there. The real gate is right in front of her. She stares at it. So Jaeyoung asks Yuhan how he even found this. He refuses to say it's a secret. Then she asks if they're just going in and hitting everything that moves. Yuhan explains the actual plan. They're hunting safely from the dungeon entrance. Yuhan asks if fixed gate monsters stay inside the dungeon. He confirms the creatures can't see or exit through the gate opening, but they can enter and exit freely. With a skilled enough dealer, they can attack from outside as much as they want. His plan, he and Sejong go inside and draw monsters to the entrance through the air. Yuhan stays outside and shoots from safety. Hit and run. Yuhan repeats it with full confidence. She's the key to clearing this tonight. She can fight however she wants without worrying about mana. He's got it handled. He smiles and opens his hand. A potion. Apparently not easy to get. Sejong is already buzzing with excitement, announces she's going to launch Junior into the air with her wind. Yuhan nearly gets hit by how fast she moves, doing exactly that. Inside the gate, the first monster horde is already waiting. Future experience points. All of them. Yuhan crushes the flask in his hand. Magic dust scatters through the air. He orders Soo-jeong Sr. to pull the shark rabbit up from underground first. Outside, Nayoon waits exactly where she was told. Obedient, patient. Yuhan is counting on her to work hard as the main dealer tonight. Promises her sweet rewards if she does. She starts shooting, hit after hit, clean and controlled, and she's pouring every ounce of irritation she feels toward that infuriating schemer directly into each shot. He's not the one out here dealing with this. He's not the one suffering, and somehow he still gets to be casual about it. The monsters keep coming. A large one appears at the gate entrance. Things are going as planned, but something shifts when she's face to face with real monsters for the first time. She starts hearing voices, desperate, pleading, "Save us," a memory she didn't ask for. When she was very small, those types of creatures had the ability to imitate humans perfectly, and when nobody could tell who was real and who wasn't, the order was simple: shoot everything. She pulls herself back to the present, keeps firing, doesn't stop, tries not to sit with the thought that surfaced in the middle of all that. When the last monster drops, Soo-jung sets Yuhan back on the ground. They both turn at the sound of Na-yoon's voice. She announces it with full sunshine energy. Her attributes and skills jumped significantly. She's level 15. Yuhan stares at her, very visibly stunned. She calls his name and wonders internally if his reaction is because he can see what happened, that she dumped her meta points in like liquid right before tonight. It would make sense that he's shocked. The investment he made in a Class F beginner just suddenly produced the agility and magic stats of an active field hunter. She asks if he's feeling okay. He's looking strange, maybe they should wrap up the mission. He says he's fine, too quickly, tries to look normal, says they should clear the rest of the area and move straight into the internal dungeon. They work through the remaining monsters. When everything's handled, Soo-jung, collecting everything, asks Na-yoon if she has the inventory skill, acting like she doesn't already know the answer. She plays surprised. Soo-jung jokes that she could tell because she can see status windows. Yuhan immediately corrects that all Awakeners get inventory access at level 2, and she just used it in front of both of them. Exposed. On the inventory system itself, it's not about size, it's about capacity. At level 1, you can store 100 units across 10 item types. Yuhan, at level 10, can store 1,000 units across 100 varieties. He tells them he'll hold the eliminated monsters and sell them at the exchange later to settle accounts. Na-yoon just needs to gather everything for now. The three of them move deeper into the gate. Even after clearing the monsters, Yuhan asks Soo-jung to handle the exploration ahead as a precaution. Then everything starts shaking. All three of them go on alert. Something happens to Na-yoon, her eyes go wide. It's just Soo-jung using her magic to make her levitate. They're being guided by what looks like a magical circle. Na-yoon's brain is already running the comparison. This wasn't in the original. From what she remembers, Yuhan just walked calmly through and picked something up from the center. Whatever is happening right now is different. This is the continue the trial event. Descendants of wild beasts from the tower. She looks over at Soo-jung. Oh, that's the button. Soo-jung immediately says she wants to go back outside. Na-yoon is genuinely curious what this idiot did to trigger an entirely different event from the original game. But she stays in character, puts on her confused face, and says something feels strange about this place. Yuhan dismisses it, says it's exactly as he expected. Soo-jung's attention snaps to him. She grabs him with her magic and pins him in place. Gets very close, with a look that should make any reasonable person reconsider their life choices. She asks if he's lost his mind and says she thought he understood her situation very well. He confirms he knows her lineage and her past. That's exactly why he brought her here. Soo-jung's expression goes somewhere dangerous. Are you trying to die? Na-yoon steps in immediately, tells both of them to stop and says they should get outside first and regroup. Yuhan says they can't leave. He says it with a smile, like that's a perfectly normal thing to announce. Na-yoon is losing her mind internally. This guy genuinely seems to think they're video game characters who respawn after dying. They are not. This is real life. Her real life. Soo-jung tightens her grip on his throat as a warning, then releases him, asks what exactly he plans to do. Yuhan smiles like he already won. He asks her to look at a specific door first. The labyrinth starts on the other side. There's not much choice, they have to move forward. Na-yoon takes a good look around the place. She asks if she just needs to look around like this. Yuhan confirms he has a vision-sharing ability, so he's seeing exactly what she sees. Of course he brought her for the clairvoyance. She was always the plan. She notices unusual inscriptions on a stone and asks about them. Yuhan explains they're written in Beastkin and contain tips for avoiding traps. He can read all of it, he proves it, and tells them to follow him. Na-yoon performs being impressed. Soo-jung is in a terrible mood. Walking beside her, Na-yoon asks what she should call her now. Soo-jung says she doesn't care, call her anything. She doesn't bother with trivial things. Na-yoon decides she'll call her senior too. Playing innocent, Na-yoon asks if what Yuhan did this time was bad, even by Soo-jung's standards. Yes, it was. Na-yoon says she'll scold him later. With Yuri, Soo-jung stares at her. Na-yoon adds politely that she doesn't need to worry about it. Soo-jung starts laughing. Not just laughing, she's floating, actually lifting off the ground from how hard she's laughing, leaving Na-yoon completely baffled. Then she grabs Na-yoon's cheeks and squishes them, says it's adorable that she's worried, and thanks her. Asks to be included when the girls go to give the schemer that scolding. They reach the destination. Yuhan smiles, confirms it, the reward room. He immediately orders Soo-jung to retrieve the key. She makes it very clear she doesn't appreciate being told what to do, but she goes to the altar and gets the key anyway. Nayoon watches and recognizes it. This is exactly how the original story flowed. Then Yuhan starts laughing like an absolute chunibyu. Sujung ends that immediately by throwing the key directly at his face. Nayoon very politely picks up the key from where it fell and hands it back to him. Full innocent girl energy, not a trace of satisfaction on her face. She's surprised when the exit appears right behind the reward room. Yuhan explains that's just how it normally works. He thanks them for the clear and says goodbye, tells them he'll see them next time. He takes one step. Sujung grabs him. She reminds him that he provoked her on purpose earlier, then asks, does he really think that just because they're out of the dungeon she no longer cares whether he gets eliminated? Yuhan says unfortunately there's still one more thing to negotiate with her. He leans in and says something. Sound blocking, only Sujung can hear it. Whatever it is, she releases him immediately. Yuhan asks with a crooked smile if she accepts. Sujung accepts, reluctantly, clearly not happy about it. Yuhan stands slightly to the side, completely ignored during that entire exchange, furious that he used a sound-blocking item on her. Yuhan says his goodbyes and tells her he'll handle reporting the dungeon. At this point, Yuhan doesn't care about anything except collapsing into her bed. The next morning is a completely different world. Yuhan has become a symbol of hope for government-supported awakeners. Her classmates are crowded around her the moment she arrives. They'd heard about the gate clear the night before, and they want every detail. Word gets to Yuhan fast. He's already sitting there like a king holding court, completely in his element. The shameless opportunist, he announces casually that the academy will be overlooking the unauthorized nighttime departure given the clear, and that they'll be handling something with her separately. Before he can say anything else, the door crashes open. Yuri walks in like a natural disaster. She calls her brother trash, tells him to get out. Yuhan stands from his throne and opens his mouth. He's about to brag about his abilities. She punches him in the face. He goes flying. She's not done. More hits land while she lists every problem with dragging Nayoon to a gate in the middle of the night by force. Internally, Nayoon would love to watch this for another 10 minutes. She does not do that. She runs over to Yuri asking desperately if she's okay, if her brother touched her anywhere, if she's hurt. She says she regrets not making her sleep in her dorm room. Nayoon assures her she's fine, says Yuhan was actually gentle, and reminds her that sleeping in someone else's room is against the rules anyway, then apologizes for not saying anything beforehand. She pulls out the sad puppy face and admits she'd already made the contract with Yuhan before she made that promise to Yuri. Yuri takes that exactly as well as expected, declares that the trash that is her brother is truly terrible. Then she pulls Nayoon into a hug, grateful she's okay, while simultaneously delivering more punishment to said trash brother for putting her in danger in the first place. Nayoon notices at least she's not using her abilities this time. That's probably progress for their relationship. It doesn't make Yuri any less furious though. She says she really had started to think he'd changed, but he was just planning to exploit people again like always. She tells Nayoon to stay away from him. He might be contagious. Out of Yuhan's sight, Nayoon allows herself a very small smile. In class, the instructor announces that the midterm will be a practical exam and tells everyone to pay close attention because what they're learning right now will directly matter. He notices a student about to fall asleep and hits them on the head with something, points out that if they'd paid attention during theory class, they would have seen that coming. The class laughs. For Nayoon, the chaos of last night feels like it happened in another dimension. The day passes quietly. In morning practical class, the professor even praised her and Yukyun, calling them twin stars. At lunch, Sujung showed up and inserted herself into the girls' gathering, despite Yuri's protests about sitting next to her friend. Back in the calm of the classroom, Nayoon thinks it's genuinely hard to believe what's coming. This story is fundamentally about preventing the destruction of the world. Yukyun, the transmigrator in a villain's body, using everything he knows to stop the catastrophe event from overflowing. Her original plan was to stay close to him at the start and then separate, prepare on her own for what's ahead. But the meta system changed the math. If she uses it properly, she can stay useful to him much longer and keep extracting whatever she needs from this situation. First though, the midterm attack event is approaching. Training with the group is the right move. Yukyun's voice pulls her out of her thoughts. He brings up the contract terms they never finished settling. He tells her that after processing all the monster byproducts and dungeon treasures, the total came in at 3 billion won. She stares at him. He says what they had in the contract was that he'd handle the byproducts, and now they need to settle up properly. She knows from the story that this character waits eagerly to distribute benefits to his companions. He doesn't act stingy with the people on his side, so this can only mean one thing. He asks for her account number. He's splitting it 3 ways. Nayeon goes completely still. Her mind immediately goes to the orphanage. The art supplies the kids have always wanted. A piano, supporting them so they can go to the schools they've been dreaming about. And Kang Yu, who's been suffering from an illness for so long, maybe this could ease that even a little. And most importantly, the director won't have to humiliate herself begging for donations anymore. Yuhan pulls her out of her thoughts by asking if she's thought about what she'd do if she made a lot of money. While making the transfer, he advises her to buy new weapons. Nayeon tells him she's planning to donate it. That genuinely surprises him. He says it's a good thing, but asks if right now it wouldn't make more sense to focus on self-development first. She understands what he means. He wants her to use the money to get stronger. She also understands something else. If she just brushes it off, he's going to follow up eventually and want to know where the money went. Being clear now is the better move. She tells him there's a place she owes a lot to, so she decided that whenever she earns serious money, donating comes first. It fits the Sunshine character perfectly. It's exactly how Yoo-hyun has always seen her. She's counting on him filing this under NPC trait and moving on without digging further. She also just doesn't want to give this one thing up. In the end, Yoo-hyun accepts it, tells her to spend her money however she wants. The appeal worked. Then he suddenly goes tense and asks why she's crying. Her eyes are absolutely flooding. Full waterfall. More emotion than she planned for. Yoo-hyun is immediately in crisis mode, asking what's wrong, if she's hurt, if she has dry eye problems. She can't really explain. She just smiles through it and says thank you. He looks at her differently for a moment, something a little flustered in his expression. Then Yuri walks in and cuts the moment clean in half. She's here to invite Nii-hyun to dinner. She immediately spots the tears and decides without question that her brother is responsible. She doesn't accept any excuses. Nii-hyun insists she's fine. A woman sits behind a thin curtain separating her from the outside. She asks, "So you're the brat who had the nerve to brag about being able to solve my biggest problem?" Someone approaches and confirms it. It's Nii-hyun. She says she can tell twins apart. The woman wants to know the terms. Nii-hyun says, "Issue citizenship for the director and the children of the orphanage she lives in. Send them to a safe zone." The woman smiles, says there's change left over, and asks for one more request. Nii-hyun asks her to make sure her orphanage family stays out of criminal organizations. The woman accepts, then adds, Nii-hyun is the exception. She says souls from other worlds always bring storms with them. Nii-hyun wakes up from that unpleasant dream. The alarm is going off. She hits it with slightly more force than necessary. She thinks the deal with the black scales was an inevitable choice. It was only possible because she knew the method from the original novel. She tries to convince herself everything is fine, that things are going the way she wants. Though Yuan's reaction the day before is sitting in the back of her mind as a small concern. She decides if her stats keep rising without issues, he probably won't make it a problem. So she's going to plan ahead and look at what to increase in the meta shop next. Something catches her eye. There's an option called Story Reversal. No exact point value shown for accessing it. It allows her to alter the novel's content however she wants. Points required scale with the content of the change. She starts pacing. This could change the actual flow of the world. She tries writing a test entry, something like, Nayoon was actually from a powerful family in awakened society. It gets accepted. It would cost around 10,000 points. She tries other alternatives. She doesn't have nearly enough for any of them right now. Then she notices something worse. Last time she checked, she had around 130 meta points. She's lost 10 since then. It's not a huge amount, but it's not nothing either, and it makes her uneasy. If she saves points for later and keeps losing them, she might not be able to do what she's planning. She doesn't understand what went wrong, so she checks the reader reactions. Turns out, donating the money didn't go over well, and most importantly, the director won't have to humiliate herself begging for donations anymore. In class, the instructor explains how the conquest of the Tower of Desire was interrupted, cutting off all interaction with it. Decades later, the first protruding gate appeared at the tower's entrance. Nayoon can't focus after that discovery. She notices that while her classmates are nodding off, Yoo-hyun is the only one genuinely engaged, like he's hearing official confirmation of game settings he already memorized. The instructor mentions the tower is visible all the way from Seoul. A student raises their hand and says it's ugly. The class laughs, Nayoon too. The story goes back further. Towers appeared suddenly in the capitals of every nation across the world, all connected to one central tower through unknown principles. The more floors were cleared, the more rewards and resources could be obtained. That's when the intentional conquest team led by the hero Park Sion was formed, awakeners who had developed strange powers during that same period. They cleared the tower. The monsters that attacked weren't an unmanageable problem. Until floor 333, when humans encountered other races for the first time, communication was possible. The two groups didn't know each other, but the humans chose to cooperate and push forward together. The other races came out of the tower and began interacting with the new world. Then they hit floor 666. Information about the tower was revealed. Cracks started forming between the groups. The tower is fueled by human desire. As long as that exists, it will never end. The other races made a demand, stop, which was asking far too much from so many selfish people. But the request came from a place of real suffering. Monsters kept invading their residential areas inside the tower and causing constant damage. That was the breaking point. The confrontation happened. Humans closed the tower, and just a few decades after that uneasy peace, protruding gates started appearing around the area. That's the full context, the backstory of the game inside this novel. The instructor wraps it up by noting that everyone agreed to call it the Tower of Desires. Na-yoon thinks they're training hunters because of the karma left behind by the previous generation. The instructor continues, gates causing problems are appearing across increasingly larger areas. Residential zones are divided into 3 types: danger zones where gates have already occurred, intermediate zones where they can occur, and safe zones where it's the least likely. The orphanage is currently in a safe zone, but if the calamity overflow event happens, even that won't hold. So she needs a solution, fast, even if that means dealing with the black scales again. But before any of that, there's one specific person she needs to find, regardless of which direction things go. She glances at Yuhan's notebook and catches a word written there: Oracle, a character who appears around the middle of the story. He's the creator of the game the Transmigrator played, and also the one who brought Yuhan's soul into this world in the first place. Which makes Na-Yuhan wonder, was it the Oracle who brought her here too? She's convinced she'll get those answers when she finds him. In the novel, the Oracle provided information and guidance for Yuhan, a compass pointing him in the right direction. But he was so suspicious that some readers actually dropped the story during that arc, frustrated with how that development played out. Which makes Na-Yuhan think her actions yesterday were probably received the same way. That's why she lost meta points. She feels genuinely stupid about it. She should have thought more rationally in that moment instead of letting her emotions take over. So until she figures out how to fix this, no more mentioning anything about her orphanage family. That's it. That's the only move available right now. It's frustrating. That goal was the entire reason she's here in the first place. Her head is starting to hurt from thinking about it too much. For now, the plan is simple. Maintain screen time, protect her reputation, accumulate points. She can do anything for her family. Her own feelings don't need to factor into it. She makes her decision. She's going to perform as the character these readers want. No visible frustration, always prioritizing the schemer, exactly on brand. She turns and smiles at Yuhan. He looks at her like something is off. The group is back together for team training. Yuri is in the middle of destroying monsters when one comes up behind her fast, and there's not much she can do about it in time. A shot fires, hits the core clean, phase cleared, all thanks to the sniper. Yuri celebrates the perfect final moment. Na-Yuhan says she was almost too late. Yuri disagrees completely, tells her if she keeps this up, she's going to become a seriously famous hunter. Na-Yuhan is happy she always gives such generously exaggerated evaluations. Shijung isn't at this training session. Yuri says that's because the cat is a free spirit. Yuhan cuts in and suggests everyone take a break. Mana is running low across the board. Na-Yuhan volunteers to grab drinks and waves off Yuri's offer to help. Tells her to rest. She's exhausted. Keeping the sunshine performance going is getting harder, but she keeps moving, grabs the drinks for herself and the twins. The orders drop from the machine. She bends down to pick them up. A voice calls her name from behind. She turns. It's Siwo. He asks if they can talk. They sit down. Na-Yuhan asks what he wanted to say. He looks like he's struggling to form a sentence. Too much going on behind his eyes. She gives him her warmest smile, just a small push to keep going. Siwo apologizes for the delay, says he's just choosing his words carefully. She tells him that's fine and means it, calls him thoughtful, keeps smiling in that soft, unbothered way. It doesn't stop her from noticing his expression, though. He asks if something happened. She turns it back on him brightly, asks if he means something bad, then rattles off that lately only good things have been happening. Friends recognizing her power increasing, and she even slips in that she's made quite a bit of money recently as a little secret. Siwoo has his head down listening to all of this. Then he looks up, says that's not what he meant. Na-Hyun keeps smiling in that slightly silly way, maybe to keep the air from getting heavier. He tells her if she doesn't want to talk about it, he won't push. Instead, he wants to share a story about someone he knows well. The story of a fallen hero. That gets her attention. Park Shion, leader of Savior, one of the greatest heroes of her generation. People trusted her with the most critical missions, and she delivered brilliantly even through setbacks. She once declared publicly, "Our success in this conquest is entirely thanks to your support and faith. I will always do my best to meet your expectations." Then one day, a truth that shook the entire world came out. What the tower actually ran on: human desire. The important missions Shion had been completing all along had been quietly damaging her companions in the world without her knowing it. In an instant, everything turned. People blamed the hero group, and Shion blamed herself, carried that weight for the rest of her life. Na-Yoon didn't know this story. It wasn't in the novel, and it's clearly not something to take lightly. Shiyu's voice goes quiet. He says, "Even so, that person always showed only a smile to her grandchild. But that child always knew that their grandmother was hiding something very deep underneath." He goes silent for a few seconds, then continues. He's seen a lot of people who want to cry but hold it back and keep smiling for a long time, and no matter how hard they try, there are things that slip through that are really hard to control. He tells her he hopes she doesn't blame herself too much. and that sometimes it's okay to ask your friends for help. Na-yoon is genuinely moved. Siwoo notices her expression and immediately turns red, looks away fast. She finds herself with a small, real smile. It was only a 10-point loss, and even that was enough to make her spiral. Then things climbed back up just as quickly. She did her best, and she understands now. If something doesn't work, it doesn't work. No matter how hard she tries, she just has to keep finding new approaches and be more careful going forward. She turns to him and says thank you. The smile is genuine this time. No performance behind it. Maybe that's something she actually needed to hear, even if the stoic has no idea what truth she's been carrying. Siwoo smiles back the same way. Then she makes him turn completely red by asking if he started this conversation, because he was worried about her calling him sweet for it, telling him he's a radiant soul with a wonderful personality. She tells him he can come to her too if he ever has something weighing on him. They're friends. He agrees. The conversation ends there. The others are probably waiting. Siwoo, still being exactly who he is, offers to carry all the drinks. The two of them head back to the training room together. The scene they walk back into is complete chaos. Yuhan is knocked out on the floor. Sujeong is sitting on him like he's a bench. She looks up and greets the newcomers with a bright smile. Both Na-yoon and Siwoo stop dead. Na-yoon immediately moves toward Yuhan. Yuri grabs her, tells her not to worry about the trash. Sujeong cheerfully mentions she just gave him a small scolding. Na-yoon remembers. That day in the dungeon, she promised Sujeong she could join when the girls went to scold him. She kept that promise, apparently. Yuhan is still on the floor making his last dramatic sounds and begging for help. Na-yoon crouches next to him, performing concern, asks if he's okay, notes the nosebleed looks pretty bad. That night, Na-yoon is in her room reading the comments on the latest chapter. Then she goes back through the unpleasant ones again. It's easier this time. Still stings, but after the conversation with Siwoo, everything feels a little lighter somehow. She smiles thinking about that gentle stoic hero, then laughs quietly and wonders if some of her anxiety accidentally transferred to him. Next morning, and there's already a commotion shaking up the entire academy. Yuhin is standing in the middle of it all with a megaphone announcing that the Gate Treasure Exploration Club is now recruiting members. Rare items are displayed in full view. The promise, just join and there's a chance to get them for free. That gets people's attention immediately. One person in particular. Na-yoon remembers in the original novel, this is around when he started the club too. Same name, same official reason of treasure hunting. But the real reason was to gather heroines for invading the secret dungeon. She asks if she can join. She gets accepted immediately, which she knows is not easy to pull off. Before they can even celebrate anything, Na-yoon arrives furious as always, wants to know what he's doing with Na-yoon now. Na-yoon enthusiastically explains that Yunnan is recruiting people for his group and she decided to join. Yuri gives her brother another light scolding anyway. In the original story, Yuri was in the book discussion club. Na-yoon had always thought that fit perfectly, very grand dame energy. Now she thinks about it and realizes Yuri was probably just trying to make friends. Yuri decides to join too, solely to keep an eye on Na-yoon. Yunnan immediately provokes her by pointing out she seems a little too interested, which earns him another hit. A long line forms for interviews. The turnout is honestly surprising. Yunnan is running the whole thing and immediately rejects the first candidate. Reason, unpleasant expression. Next one rejected for having spoken badly about him. The one after that for having a crush on Na-yuri. Na-yoon watches this process and thinks this is completely unreasonable and corrupt. He's just eliminating anyone who doesn't match his personal taste. The blonde guy gets rejected too, accused of having greedy eyes. Then someone enters like a gust of wind. Sujeong. Yunnan stares. Na-yoon stares. The red-haired girl was never supposed to join any group. Sujeong asks if that means she's automatically accepted. They sign a contract right there. She celebrates her acceptance and hands the stamp back to Yunnan in her own particular way, then immediately takes over managing the entrance line like she owns the place. The next candidate walks in. Pale skin, brilliant platinum hair, cold blue eyes, calm demeanor. Na-yoon recognizes her instantly, exactly as the novel described her. Na-yoon Jae-lee Hana. Yunnan stands up before she even finishes walking in, goes straight to her and says she's exactly the kind of talent the club needs. Sojing is already enthusiastically reaching for the stamp. Yunnan is holding the club guide. Yunnan suggests they catch up with Hana properly later, mentions he wants to spend some time with the others first, which gives the impression they already know each other well. Na-yoon already knows how the story goes, but asks anyway. Why the immediate acceptance? Yunnan, very animated, reveals it. This entire interview process was a trap designed specifically to recruit Na-yoon Jae-lee Hana. She's practically the best hunter in the academy, second only to Siwoo. Even a complete beginner can clear most gates smoothly with her support, and she's exceptional at handling hidden pieces and special events. More than enough reasons to want her regardless of the age gap. The other girls seem to take well to the new member. Sojing especially. Yunnan assures everyone she's a good person. Na-yoon isn't fully convinced by that framing. In the Transmigrator's story, Hana was always upright and gentle, and that very kindness became her greatest weakness. Either way, with Hana, they've hit the minimum member count to officially form a group. Time to go back to rejecting everyone else. Except the next person who walks through the door makes Yunnan react all over again. Na-yoon too. It's the person neither of them expected. Park Siwoo introduces himself. Na-yoon is pretty sure he was in the swordsmanship club in the original story. Yunnan is visibly stunned, then accepts him immediately like the perfect opportunist he is. And just like that, the Gate Treasure Exploration Club is officially established. Na-yoon greets the new members and reminds herself of the actual goal. She's just here to ride along with the protagonists. Keep her head down, collect benefits, stay in position. At least she managed to blend into the group without drawing too much attention, though she does find herself wondering if she's supposed to be blending in. Why does she keep ending up as the main dealer? Good question. Let's go back 3 hours to find out exactly what that schemer did. 3 hours earlier, Yunnan announces to the group that their mission is portal exploration. Yuri immediately objects, sensibly pointing out that they don't have authorization to go near the tower. Yunnan has a plan, and for it to work, everyone needs to sign a document. He updated the contract. Notice the last one was a little sloppy. 3 clauses. First, confidentiality about entering the portals. Second, all byproducts obtained through club activities must be distributed and paid out accordingly. Third, the president, meaning him, stores everything in his inventory. Yuri is not pleased. The idea of leaving everything in her brother's hands inspires exactly zero confidence. Na-yoon tries to calm her down, points out he did distribute fairly last time. This is just him making sure everyone gets equal shares again. The other girls sign without issue. Yuri accepts in the end, very much against her will. Na-yoon asks what type of portal they're heading to. Fixed type again, but a special one this time. An ice cavern. Hana's attention sharpens the moment she hears that. Like she knows the place. Yukon continues. No level ups available inside, but the ice element, items, and cores that can drop there are substantial. Na-yoon clocks it immediately. He chose this specifically to impress the platinum-haired girl. Siwoo asks about the strategy and whether there's anything they need to prepare for. Yukon is more than ready to answer that. He's already divided everyone's roles according to their abilities and lays it all out. The group heads to the portal location. On the way, Soo-jung makes a point of noting how suspicious it is that Yukon always knows exactly where to find these things. Yukon, meanwhile, is completely destroyed from having to climb a mountain to get there. They pass through. The inside is exactly as expected, entirely made of ice. Some of the group shiver. Soo-jung is delighted watching the mist come out of her mouth. Something moves, everyone goes alert. Yukon orders battle positions. The group moves into formation. He's on support and command. Yuri, already annoyed at being told things she knows, takes tank. Siwoo takes tank too, using his sword to handle everything in range. Yukon orders Soo-jung to create the windshield. She's on main support. Na-yoon on sub-support, laying down suppressing fire. Together they work at breaking through the giant's defenses. The shield shatters. The core is exposed and glowing. Yukon smiles. He calls out to Senior Hana, main dealer. She's already ready. Hana creates ice beneath the enemy's feet, and using her exceptional physical stats, she moves at a speed that barely registers. Her lance technique, sharp enough to pierce anything, hits the exposed core and shatters it in an instant. For some reason, readers have been calling her a broken character. Yukon doesn't waste time on that observation. He's already collecting everything they dropped, so the group can move forward. Na-yoon looks at the items. For a monster that size, the drops are genuinely good. Yukon warns the group, no small fry in this cavern. Mostly large monsters that drop domes and items, so everyone needs to stay sharp. Na-yoon plays her role perfectly and compliments the commander for the heads up. They push forward to the last target, a large fluffy creature, sleeping. Yukon explains during the briefing. Passive ability called Blizzard. Incredibly annoying, and its level is so high, it's essentially the source of the dungeon's entire temperature drop. The fluffy creature opens its eyes. Large glowing orbs. Yukon tells everyone to get into position. He swings the flag to signal. The blizzard hits immediately. Too strong. The signal doesn't get through. Soo-jung reacts fast, which unfortunately also launches Yukon into the air. He is not happy about this, even with the context of a blizzard. Yukon ends up catching his fall, while Soo-jung hits the snow face first. Yuri is being battered by the storm. Yukon knew this boss was strong. He didn't expect quite this level. The blizzard is killing visibility across the board, and on top of that, the group still hasn't fully settled into fighting together. The monster closes in behind him, but what actually surprises him is what's in front of him. One person in that chaos has a completely clear view, Kang Mi-yoon, clairvoyance level 2. He orders Soo-jung to get the sniper elevated. Mi-yoon doesn't even have time to object before she's already in the air. Yukon immediately reassigns everyone. All roles shift to tank and support to cover the snipe. And just like that, she became the main dealer. The Yeti is her target. She steadies herself up there, waits, she knows it's not the right moment yet. Then it is. She fires clean hit, right through the core. She immediately asks if everyone's okay. Any injuries? Everyone is fine. Relieved, still catching their breath. Niyun is still a little shaken. She's glad he trusts her, she just really hopes the schemer doesn't pull something like that again without warning. She notices Yukon moving towards something that appeared after the fight and asks what it is. He explains a prize. She stares at the rare ice attribute item now sitting in his hand. Yuhan calls everyone together before they leave the dungeon. He explains rare items like this one are difficult to obtain even with money. So instead of selling it, the smarter move is to use it to upgrade a team member's abilities directly. He offers it to Hana, promises that when other good items drop in the future, they'll be distributed according to each person's attributes. Hana looks genuinely surprised. Niyuhan remembers. Hana desperately needs ice element items because of a fire curse she carries. The whole group agrees she should receive it. Hana gets a little flustered, quietly thanks everyone. Sujeong immediately throws herself at her. Yuhan calls everyone together again. Time to hand out the items he promised to new club members. Yuri visibly notes her surprise that her brother actually followed through. She'd expected to be tricked. Naeun receives a necklace. Her eyes light up, good ability, beautiful design, and very expensive. She plans to take good care of it and sell it later. She walks out of the dungeon, happy, already calculating. Once the monster sale money comes in, her inventory is going to be packed. And from here, it's just studying until midterms. Peace. Finally, maybe some actual peace. That lasts a very short time, because Naeun is now running for her life. The students of the academy are after her like a horde of zombies, all of them wanting the orb. Once again, somehow she is in serious trouble. To understand how she ended up running for her life, we need to go back to Yuhan's narration at the end of the Ice Cavern episode. It starts like this. After wrapping everything up and sending everyone else away, he still had one pending task. He pulls a fox orb out of his pocket. He needs to use it one way or another. The problem is he doesn't know who to ask. He thinks about it with a smile. Who would hear out his request without question? Who is always at his side? And on top of that, who meets the minimum level requirement to not get immediately seduced by the orb? He hands it to Kang Na-yoon. She asks curiously what it is. He tells her with a very suspicious smile to just hold it, and if anything strange happens, she should tell him immediately. She already knew something like this was coming. What she didn't know was why it makes everyone around her act completely unhinged. She even received a love letter in exchange for the orb. She opened it. It was the most terrifying thing she'd ever read. When she went to Yuan to report the situation, he said simply, "Hold on for about a week, and the problem will resolve itself." For once, not a lie. A week passes. Now Yuhan lasted exactly as long as predicted. Her condition is deplorable. Yuhan, meanwhile, has been perfectly relaxed this entire time. If it weren't for the sunshine character concept, she would have ended him by now. The students keep getting stranger and she ends up crashing directly into the schemer. Yuhan finally acknowledges that yes, a week has passed. He explains. She needs to take the orb to the lake near the main building where the full moon reflects on the water. He'll handle holding back the zombies. This somehow sounds worse than everything that came before it. Now Yuhan accepts it and runs. Yuhan flashes that charming smile and tells the zombie horde they'll have to get through him first. They do. Very easily. All Na Yuhan can do is keep running. The zombies don't stop. They just keep following. Then Yuri and Saiwoo appear. They can see the situation is much worse than expected and move to defend her. Na Yuhan thanks them and explains she needs to reach the lake near the main building trail. Both of them take position. They'll hold the line. Even with them, their more zombie students keep closing in. Then Na Yuhan is suddenly lifted into the air. Sujing using her magic to pull her out of the chaos. Hana's is there too. Na Yuhan looks at all of them, her group members showing up without being asked, and feels genuinely moved. They're like angels. Every single one of them. Except the schemer, obviously. Su Zheyoung takes her to the lake. It doesn't take long. Just as Yuhan said, the full moon is perfectly reflected in the water. The orb in her pocket starts moving on its own the moment they get close. It drifts to exactly the point where the moon's reflection sits on the surface, gets intensely bright, and then a portal opens. Now Yuhan stares at it. Yuhan appears at her side somehow and confirms it. A portal, not just any portal, an item dungeon called the Nine-Tailed Fox's Storehouse. Su Zheyoung, also present, makes her usual observation that he always knows everything. He says there's a good reason for that, but things aren't going exactly as he planned either. Na Yuhan turns on him and says he could have warned her if he knew this was going to happen. That actually surprises him. Though honestly, what did he expect after the week she just lived through? He'd simply assumed it would be fine, that the sunshine heroine would never turn against the protagonist. He didn't account for the danger involved, or more specifically, for how the person holding the orb would actually experience all of it. He might not know this, but for Na Yuhan, this world is her actual reality. Not a game, not a novel. He tries to explain that he didn't do it on purpose, that he couldn't say anything because he didn't know what kind of variable it would become. Then he steps closer and reaches out to touch her face while apologizing. Na-Yuhan pulls back sharply. Yuri says he hasn't changed at all, that this habit of using people however he wants is exactly the same as before. Yuhan defends himself, says he chose the best available option for the best possible outcome, and that it was a decision made after careful consideration. Yuri shoots back that he didn't consider the fact that Na-Yuhan was in danger at all, and that calling everything a variable makes it even more absurd. Na-Yuhan, a little calmer now, asks Yuri to settle down. Sujung steps in and reminds everyone they need to deal with the portal first, but makes it very clear she'll be questioning him thoroughly about this later, because she more than anyone knows exactly how unpleasant it is to be used as a tool. Yuhan then reveals the only person who can enter this portal is whoever was holding the orb. Yuri's anger spikes again immediately. He tries to soften it, says there are no monsters inside, just rewards. What happened is that making the orb float on a moonlit lake means returning it to its original owner, and in doing so the person who returned it earns the right to choose 3 treasures from the nine-tailed fox's storehouse. Na-Yuan immediately sees the meta point opportunity, and says, since Yuhan was the one who brought the orb in the first place, she'll choose the things he wants. Nobody agrees with this, especially Na-Yui. Yuhan says he only wants one reward, the rest is her choice. With everything settled, Hana creates an ice bridge for Na-Yun to cross. She steps through the portal with a promise she'll be right back. The inside is filled with all kinds of things that look incredibly precious. A voice comes from behind her. So you returned my son's orb. Na-Yuan asks if she's the fox. Confirmed. The fox says that because she recovered her son's lost memory, she'll repay her with 3 treasures from the storehouse. First, Yuhan's item. Na-Yuan asks if she knows something called Dokabi Fire. The fox is surprised she knows the name, points her to the blue lantern hanging at the entrance. Now for her own choices, she walks towards something that catches her eye. The fox tells her that's the most precious thing she owns. An ornament made from the fur of her husband's tail, the 1,000-tailed fox. It has the power to overcome all evil things. Na-Yuan asks if she can really take something that precious. The fox holds to her word. She promised 3 items from the storehouse. 1 left. A key catches her attention. The fox explains it's an item that grants a blessing. Na-Yuan imagines that sounds promising, then discovers it's the key that leads to the tower. She comes back out of the portal. Yuan is already animated about his item, while everyone else looks concerned about Na-Yuan. He goes to greet her and welcome her back. She shows her treasures. His eyes light up when the item reveals its true form. He tells her she brought it at exactly the right time and that she did well. The others gather around. Sujung immediately asks if she chose well. Na-Yuan says she got the foxtail amulet that wards off evil and a key. That gets Yuan's full attention. He didn't know something like that existed in there. Na-Yuan explains it's a blessing from the fox. Before he can get a proper look at it, Yuri pushes past him, wants to check Na-Yun over, make sure she's not hurt anywhere that isn't visible. Very much done with her brother. Some time passes. The group gathers at the Guardian Cafe. Several students come up to Na-Yun to apologize for what happened during the Orb Week. All of them confused, none of them understanding why they wanted it so badly. She smiles and tells them it's fine. A week has passed and she's forgotten all about it. The person who should actually be apologizing is sitting right next to her. He's completely focused on going over the theoretical exam answers and not thinking about that at all. He runs through the answers. Na-Yun got at least 1 wrong. To be fair, that question gave even Siwoo trouble. Final score, 89 points. The others scored higher, but they still cheered her on. It's genuinely impressive for a newcomer. Na-Yun thanks everyone for helping her study. Says she was worried about losing club privileges over bad grades. Yuri says if that had happened, she would have personally gone to the academy and caused a scene. Finds it absurd that a test would exclude government-supported awakeners. The server arrives with drinks. Yuri Han ordered a caramel macchiato. Yuri stares at it with an expression that could curdle milk. She points at it before he can even touch it. Says he always drank straight espresso. What is this? Yuri Han says he's been craving sweets lately. She also noticed he had braised ribs for lunch. She knows he doesn't like meat. He says his taste changed, and once he got used to it, everything started tasting good. She brings up the baton as a weapon too. Provokes him about how convenient it is that all his preferences seem to be shifting so easily. Na-Yun stands up and asks them not to fight. Yuri says they're not fighting. Then says it's irritating that the trash version of her brother has changed in such a strange way. The twins keep going, the bad twin saying people change and questioning her sudden interest. The good twin firing back at that disgusting framing. Na-Yun tries to smooth it over by offering Yuri a dessert. She's genuinely worried this tension right before the practical exam is not ideal. One more chapter from Yuri Han's perspective. Back to that night, when Na-Yun showed him the key she'd taken as her prize. He examined both items with insight eye. The tail amulet permanently nullifies all status effects just by having it on her. Passive, always active. The other one is the problem. It's an entrance to the tower. He's surprised she doesn't know what it actually is. The fox really is the embodiment of hidden Easter eggs in this world. He noticed Na-Yun had no idea what that key truly meant. which is, in a way, convenient for him. He smiles and starts thinking of a good excuse to take it from her later. Na-yoon reads this and is furious. This schemer who always tries to take everything good that comes her way. Now she fully understands why his sister can't stand him. She needs to come up with a good excuse of her own to not lose that key. She also remembers the amulet can remove status effects, which makes her wonder, could it work on the curse Hana is carrying? Hana notices her looking and asks if something's wrong. Na-yoon says she's just surprised by how many people are in the training hall today. Hana explains it's normal around exam time. All the other students are scanning the group like they're searching for the strongest players available. Yuri asks Na-yoon something, but she'd been too distracted to catch it. Turns out Yuri just wants to kick her brother out and have Na-yoon join a different test group. Na-yoon explains again that she's joining Yuhan for the practical exam. Yuri points out it's a 5-person team. If one of them is bad, that's a 20% bad player rate. Something to consider. The conversation gets interrupted when a very nervous girl calls out to Yuri. She invites her to join her test group. Na-yoon recognizes her, the pink-haired girl who tried to get into the club during interviews. Yuri says she hasn't decided on her team yet. The girl looks devastated. Na-yoon feels for her. It clearly took a lot of courage to ask publicly, though she also agrees that asking in front of everyone probably wasn't the best approach. Another random student invites Siwoo, also rejected. Same with Hana. Everyone is desperately hunting for strong teammates before the exam, and the desperation is very visible. Groups are even arguing over why their team should be chosen. But Na-yoon notices something. They are completely and openly ignoring her. Along with Yoo-han and Soo-jung. Soo-jung rejected for being half non-human. Yoo-han rejected for being what he is. And Na-yoon? Just a Class F student. But things can change. A girl approaches and asks if she's Kang Na-yoon. Na-yoon confirms, very happy, assuming this is finally a group invitation. The girl asks if she'd like to participate in her experiment. Na-yoon stares at her. This girl looks like a mad scientist. Fortunately, Yuri is right there. She pushes through to get to her friend and demands to know what kind of experiment. Na-yoon is honestly impressed she managed to shake off all those other people just to get over here. Yuri makes her position very clear. Speak honestly, and if this puts her friend in any danger, there will be consequences. The girl assures her there's no danger at all. It's simply a mana visualization experiment. Na-yoon is genuinely surprised. The mad scientist is Park Yura. She doesn't appear often in the novel, but her inventions have a significant impact on the episodes ahead. Na-yoon wonders why she's interested specifically in her. Yura says her mana is incredible and that it would be amazing to make it visible to everyone. From what Na-yoon remembers, in the original story, Yura approached Yuhan first. Speaking of which, Yuhan asks about it with visible curiosity. Yura explains she has special eyes. She turns back to Na-yoon and asks again, will she participate? She'd even pay for the privilege. Yura still finds this dangerous. Her brother disagrees, assures her it's not dangerous, and points out they do similar things during tests anyway. It's very obvious the schemer is doing this to earn credits with the scientist. So Na-yoon plays along with the concept and accepts. Yura adds a condition. In exchange, Yura has to give Na-yoon some of her inventions as payment. Yura agrees enthusiastically. Na-yoon stares at Yura. You're using me as a bargaining chip? Later, the girls are having lunch, and Yura asks if Na-yoon is going to the lab afterward. Hana's attention catches on that. Na-yoon explains the experiment she was invited to participate in. She arrives at the lab and is immediately impressed by the setup. The academy really does put serious resources into this place. Yura is already there, buzzing with excitement. Na-yoon thinks it wouldn't be strange for someone with Yura's eyes to notice her abilities. Inside the room, everything is cutting edge. Inventions everywhere, each one more elaborate than the last. One of them is a cosmic entity detector. Yura apologizes that she can't demonstrate it since she still needs a few parts to finish it. Exactly as complicated as the novel described. Na-yoon is seated in the chair. Her hands are secured in the restraints. Yura explains this is for her own safety. She might be in danger. Then she appears holding a very alarming syringe and tells Na-yoon that if she asks to be released at any point, she will do so immediately. Na-yoon immediately asks to be released. Yura laughs. First, she takes a small sample of her fluid, then asks Na-yoon to channel a little mana into the platform beneath her hand. Na-yoon follows the instructions. Mana extraction complete. Yura says the necessary procedure is done. Then she smiles, showing very sharp teeth, and says she can't let her go just yet. She grabs Na-yoon's face. Na-yoon is completely frozen. The mad scientist leans toward her neck and says she just wants a little taste. Suddenly, there's no one next to her. Na-yoon looks around, disoriented. Yura is standing at a distance, looking surprised, says she finally woke up. Na-yoon apologizes for falling asleep. Yura, with those very suspicious teeth, just tells her to come back tomorrow for more collection. Na-yoon walks out of the lab in a daze. Can't believe that happened on the very first day. She wants to understand what is so special about her mana that got Yura this excited. In the original novel, Yura didn't extract the transmigrator's mana until a full month into the experiments. This isn't public knowledge, but Yura's biology is half vampire. Because of that, when she sees Mana, she likes her instinct is to drink from that person. Nayoon just hopes the vampire has enough self-control not to drain her completely. Meanwhile, the rest of the group is still being hounded by other students desperate for strong teammates before the exam. Nayoon spots them from a distance and stays hidden. They haven't given up, and somehow it's gotten worse. Then someone notices her anyway. Hana walks over and asks if nothing happened at the lab. That catches Nayoon off guard, mostly the sudden closeness. Hana reaches out and touches the collar of Nayoon's shirt like she's looking for something specific. Asks if she's feeling sick or anything like that. Nayoon is surprised by the question but just says everything went fine. Hana goes quiet for a moment, then gives some vague response about seeing that she's okay and leaves. Nayoon watches her go and wonders why the platinum-haired girl suddenly seemed so concerned. Alright guys, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed the video. I personally loved this story because it's a little different from what I usually bring you. It can be a bit confusing at first, since you have a protagonist who's inside a story where another protagonist reincarnated into a different story. Yeah, it's a lot, but I tried my best to explain it as clearly as possible. And honestly, there's so much more coming. We still have the midterm practical exam where this group of absolute chaos is going to have to fight together for real grades, and something tells me Nahyun being ignored as a Class F student is going to age very badly for everyone who counted her out. We have Yuthan clearly noticing that Nahyun is way more than a convenient chess piece. There are a lot of threads being pulled at once, and I genuinely cannot wait to see how they unravel. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss more videos. And if you enjoyed this one, let me know in the comments because I would love to bring you the continuation. The story is called How to Get on the Main Character's Flower Path, and today I covered up to chapter 26, Kisses, and see you next time.